How do you pass up the opportunity to spit blood in Joan Baez's face? I've read Mark Twain. I've read Huckleberry Finn. I think I earned the right to go on the internet and see a guy get a chainsaw in the face. Dude, my dad was drunk and my mom was dealing with it. Guess what? I got raised by Cookie Monster. My cock looks like it's been in a hockey fight. Time my stupidity. It's at the speed of goddamn light. I got a mouthful of clocks.
Hey, what's happening, Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. Does the show sound different? It should. I'm in a cavernous space, for one thing, and also I'm in Canada. So the exchange rate on the show, I might sound a lot less, or I might sound more. I don't know what the exchange rate is. I went for an exchange rate joke without knowing the exchange rate. Listen, amateurs, don't do that. As a professional, I can tell you right now, do not wade into the exchange rate waters without having a solid idea of what the exchange rate could possibly be. Because then you wind up with what we have here, with me stepping on my dick on a live broadcast in a cavernous space. In a Canadian space, a cavernous Canadian space, covered in snow and moose. There are no moose here. There should be. I would love to see a moose or a meese. I hate meeses. I hate meeses to pieces. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm like Jinx the cat. That's a lot of talking about nothing. So we're in Canada. I'm stopping because all of a sudden, dudes, what the fuck is wrong with my mouth? Why does my mouth decide to go into overdrive with spit production when I start this goddamn show? And I know this is a running through line and a theme. I just bumped the fucking microphone. What a professional. What a goddamn professional. Hey, there's spit in my mouth and I punched the microphone. Welcome to a 12th year of broadcast. I literally podcasted for a year with Never Not Funny, 11 years on my own, and what happens? I spit into the microphone and then punch it. This microphone's not a pussy. Why would you do that sort of stuff to it? Hi, that seems like it's revealing a little bit more about me than it should. Okay, well, let's do that, because that's what this show is. It's confessional. That's what I like to do, is I like to peel back the layers, a la onions or bananas, and show you exactly what's in the center. With the banana, look, there's no layers to a banana. You peel a banana, there's a banana. How terrible would it be? Like, see, if you peel a banana and there's a fucking tomato, you're like, God damn it, what the fuck just happened? That baffles you, but also delights you in a small way, doesn't it? All right, wouldn't you be, come on, think about it. Right now, I want you to sit down and really think about it. I demand it, if anything. Sit down and think to yourself about a banana. The shape of a banana, certainly, well, all right, we're getting into cock territory here, and I understand that. Because I almost said eggplant instead of banana, but then eggplant is just universally a cock now because the emoji for eggplant is emoji for cock. But that's good, don't you think? Wouldn't you hate to see like a true emoji for a cock? Just like a squirting cock? One time Mex did that. Mex made we had a video game. I'll share this. I think I may have even told this story. We made like our softball team into a baseball team on like RBI baseball. I didn't remember what the fucking game was, but Mex, because he's a genius, he used the pixels. You could create your own logo, and the pixel was a woman getting a facial. It was just like a woman with a cock just unloading all over her face, and he actually made it on the game. That's a man with a daughter in college. That's a man with a son in high school. That's a man who's raising good kids. And he and I sat up late one night, and I laughed my ass off as he designed pixels for the woman getting her face fucking came on. Come on, Don. I don't fucking know. I don't know what tense is when you're fucking coming on a chick's face. This seems aggressively dirty early, and I didn't mean for that to happen. We were talking about bananas and tomatoes, and see, this is where we went. We brought up bananas and eggplants, and the next thing you know, I got a pixelated woman getting covered in goo. Nobody fucking wants that to happen. Nobody wants to give the goo neck to a fucking pixel chick. Canada's got me in a randy mood. I'm yapping in a dirty fashion. That's got to be the name of the show, right? Yapping in a dirty fashion. But it's 3 minutes in. That was like right at Austin 316 as I look at the fucking blue lines. Right at the Austin 316, I said yapping in a dirty fashion. I gotta, maybe I just jot down 316 as a reminder for myself later. Again, very professional show. A man sitting here spitting and punching a microphone and then telling you the title of the show and stopping down to write it. There used to be producers. I used to have a whole fucking slew of people who did this kind of thing. That was the whole point of doing this show in the first place, was somebody reached out to me and said, I will do all the fucking work. All you have to do is talk. And here we are fucking 11 years later, and I'm doing all the work. God damn it, how did it evolve to this? I know you're probably thinking to yourself, well, Mike, if you hadn't been the way you were, people would have stuck around and gone ahead and done this show and all the work for you. Maybe they would have. Perhaps they wouldn't have. I don't know how it works. Because again, folks, when I get an offer, I wind up doing something that makes it not work. And I'm not going to get into that. I'm talking in circles. So anyway, let's talk about delighting people. Let's talk about a banana and you got it in your hand. It's shaped like a banana. It's not. We already know the surprise. I've given it away. You're gonna unwrap the banana. There's gonna be a fucking tomato in there. But imagine if it was shaped like a banana, still cock shaped, and then you peeled it, and there's a tomato lurking underneath the banana peel. Now that's truly layers. Because like I said, there's no layers to a banana. There's layers to an onion. Although again, are there truly layers? Because it's just onion in there. Everybody talks about I'm peeling back the onion. I'm peeling the layers on this onion. There's no layers. There's just onion. You take one layer of onion off, you get another layer of onion. Another layer of onion. There's just like 12 layers of onion. It's like a fucking redwood. When there was like count the rings. Well, it's still wood. It's still redwood. That's all you got there. It's tree. If you cut open a redwood and there was a fucking nougat center, then you got layers to that redwood. Then you got something worth counting. Then you got rings of age and a nougat center, and you can fucking have like a goddamn bark-covered candy bar. You choke that down. That's great. But if you got a banana with a tomato in it, then now you got layers. If you got say you got an onion and you peel it and you peel it and you peel it, and all of a sudden you get to the middle, there's an olive. Holy fuck! Look at the layers to that onion. Now, granted, the rest of them are all onion layers, but then you got an olive layer to that onion. Well, there's a lot of vegetable talk too. I got dirty. I got vegetables. And why am I critiquing myself? Don't self-critique in the moment. Go ahead and just run with it, man. Run with tomato-shaped bananas. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Banana-shaped tomatoes. You know what? Let's explore the banana-shaped tomato for a second, and then pivot right away to the tomato-shaped banana. And if you had a round like a tomato and you cut it open and there was banana inside, oh, look at me defying convention. Look at me horrifying you with all sorts of different vegetable stuff. Because shapes in your brain. If I say to you grape, it's a grape. It's like a bunch of grapes like there. But what if you picked off that grape and you bit it and it tasted like garlic? It was just like garlic cloves, but like grapes. It was all on a fucking vine. Oh, garlic grapes. That's not a bad name for a band. The garlic. You can't. Let me ask you this: do you go garlic grapes or do you go the garlic grapes? I think you got to go garlic grapes. No, the. It's like because I wrote a joke about the Beatles last week, and in my head I'm like, are they the Beatles or are they Beatles? Because I thought I had heard that they were just Beatles, and then everybody else kind of hammered the Beatles on them. But I know Ed Sullivan said, the Beatles. I know he did that number when he was like, tonight's a really big shoe. I'm going to do, by the way, here's the thing I'm going to do in 2018. I'm going to do an Ed Sullivan impression on a podcast. That's a collision of old and new media that should actually make podcasting explode inward on itself like a goddamn black hole. Literally, I've exploded the space-time continuum by doing an Ed Sullivan impression on a podcast. The newest media you can possibly find, and I found the most antiquated, old, pomaded fucking olive oil hair slicked back skeleton you could possibly drag into a podcast. And I'm doing it tonight. We've got a really big shoe. The Beatles. That's what he did. He yelled the Beatles. And yet I drag him into the podcast kicking and screaming. Let me ask you this. What if you had a banana shaped like Ed Sullivan? What if you peeled Ed Sullivan, you want a tomato on the inside? Now we're cooking with fucking gas. Now we're cooking with Canadian gas. You got an Ed Sullivan, you peel him down, you got a goddamn tomato inside. And you know what you got then? A really big condiment, a really big vegetable, a really big sandwich. All right, so here's the deal, folks. We're talking about our friend Ed Sullivan. No, we're not. And that's not even the deal. Why would I say that that's the deal? It's not the deal. We were talking about vegetables and sex. Which, you can do that. Everybody uses vegetables. No, not everybody uses vegetables and sex. But I'm talking like when because again, like I said, the eggplant is the emoji for sex. Well, stop. Go back to Ed Sullivan. Oh, the Beatles. That's what we were talking about. So, let's pause. I thought they were the Beatles. I thought they were Beatles. But then when I researched the joke, because look, folks, I'm nothing if not thorough. When I'm doing a tweet, I have to figure out if I'm doing it correctly, because I never want to leave myself open for anybody to blindside me with, excuse me, sir, it's not Beatles, it's the Beatles, or it's not the Beatles, it's Beatles. I don't know who that guy is, but I just invented him. But he's out there lurking on Twitter waiting to fucking yell at me. Like one guy did when I got to tell you this because it made me laugh. On Twitter last week, there was a report in the New York Times that said that 12,000 children have been separated from their parents, and now the United States has to put them in a fucking, I don't know, a cave or a Walmart converted into a prison. I don't fucking know what we're doing with these kids. I have no idea. You know what? If you're going to take these kids from their homes, why not train them into being either super soldiers or like fantastic basketball players, and then just form like an immigrants baby basketball league? Just do that, an IBBL. Have the IBBL. You can have the WNBA and the IBBL. They can have games in the same day in the same arena. You're going to see women and children play basketball. That's perfect. And granted, these kids are prisoners of the state, but if they start hitting set shots and layups, you're on board with these kids, aren't you? Of course we take them. We steal your best athletes and we put them in a fucking child prison. But that was the joke I wrote. So I reached out I wrote on Twitter, I just said, because it said 12,000 kids have been stripped from their families and are being kept in barns or sheds or whatever the fuck we're doing with these kids. I don't even know. It's like, I know I'm supposed to know. I know I'm supposed to care. I'm supposed to care about that. I'm supposed to care about judges in the Supreme Court and all this. And I do to a certain extent, but holy fuck, just stop. Stop telling me to call my senators and all this other bullshit. Everybody's like, women's autonomy. You need to call the Supreme Court to make sure that Kavanaugh doesn't get elected. And I'm like, I just don't see them listen. I just compared Ed Sullivan to a fucking tomato. Do you think they want to hear what I think about the Supreme Court? Hi, how are you? I was talking about peeling back a banana and finding a tomato inside. I don't think that this Kavanaugh guy's right for the Supreme Court. They're like, how are you allowed to use a phone? That's what they would ask me immediately. I said, hi, how are you? I wanted to tell you that I just don't think that you should have Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court. Aren't you the same guy who talked about your friend doing pixelated cum shots? Yes, I am. Well, then we don't think we need to hear about you. And because I will tell you this, by the way, me telling that story about the pixelated cum shots, I probably shouldn't have told it in public because that now has disqualified both Mex and I from consideration for the Supreme Court. There's no way either of us is getting chosen after that story's gone public. Or conversely, maybe it's exactly what they need on the Supreme Court is they need a couple of guys like me and Mex who we're just fucking swinging our gals around naked under our robes. I like this plan. What the fuck were we talking about? Oh, the Beatles and the joke I wrote. So they said there's 12,000 fucking people. I said because they said there's 12,000 kids that have been ripped from the bosom of their families, and it's a terrible thing, and we know it. All right, but we're all a little fatigued of hearing about it. And I'm joking. I'm not joking. Fuck that. I'm fatigued of hearing about it. I'm fatigued of everything. Every time I get to turn on fucking Trump's Twitter feed, I turn it on. That's what I do. I have a switch on it, like a light switch, and it lights up on my wall. I have a fucking projector that projects his tweets on the wall. And I got to read him talking about Russia and bullshit. I'm just like, fuck, I don't care. Because that's what he's trying to do. He's just wearing you down, man. That's his jab. He's just sticking his jab in your face over and over so you don't see the fucking right hook coming when he eventually closes the borders and throws guys like me in fucking some other jail. In this story, they said there's 12,000 kids that have been stolen from their families, and they were trying to debate what the fuck they're going to do with them. And so the joke I wrote was, because this is a joke construct that has worked in the past for me, but this was the joke I wrote. It said 12,000 kids have been stolen from their families, whatever. And I said, to put that number in perspective, if you laid those children end to end, you would probably be giving the guards a suggestion for a fun party game they could play, so they went ahead and forgot the fact that they were inhuman monsters who were guards in a baby jail. That's me paraphrasing off the top of my head. Because language is important to me. The tweet is much better constructed than what just came firing out of my skull at that moment. Who work in a baby jail, not whatever the fuck. I can't be bothered to print out my tweets just to read them to you. Because again, my brain didn't even know we were going to talk about this tweet. It just fucking flew out. By the way, I should talk about this. It is Tuesday afternoon in Canada. It is Tuesday afternoon. I don't know if that was in key or on key. I don't know what the key to that was. Maybe me shutting up is the key to not singing. So at some point, our friend Ken, I'm staying in Ken's house. He may walk in during the broadcast. I'm doing this alone because I threw it out there. I'm like, hey, man, who in Canada wants to come watch me podcast? Guess what that answer was? Nobody. 0 people were interested in seeing me do a podcast, and that's fine. I got no problem with that. But I also got a little late start today. I was hoping to have this done before Ken got home, and Ken is working. Ken's a cop. He's off doing cop stuff. And he's you know what he's doing? He's stealing 12,000 Canadian babies from their families. That's what the cops do up here. Damn it. Here in America's hat. So the point is he might walk in the middle of this, and then you'll hear me. I'll have to address that, and there'll be a nonsense going on. So I wrote that joke on Twitter. I was like, if you laid these kids end to end, it would be a party game for the guards to realize they work in a baby jail, whatever the fuck. And and some dude on Twitter, because some people are like, yay, funny joke. And some people are like, woohoo, you're the best. And then one guy just wrote, not even joking, this guy just wrote, let them live at your house. Again, that's as bad as telling me to call my senators. Okay, it's a joke. That's what Twitter's for bite-sized garbage. That's all it is. It was a joke. Because I'm so weary of the joke police, the people who take everything seriously, the people who wade in and try to tell you who you can and can't be and what you can and can't say. And look, I understand that. We're all woke. Everybody's got an opinion and things have changed. and 51-year-old white guy. There's no place in the world for him to be joking around anymore except on this podcast. You think I could wander out in the general public and start talking about Ed Sullivan with a tomato inside of him if you peeled off his layers? No, nobody wants to hear that kind of bullshit from me. Nobody wants to hear about a tomato that looks like a banana, or a banana that you peel looks like a tomato, or garlic grapes. Everybody outside this fucking podcast is like, I don't know what you see in that guy. And you guys are like, no, he said, what if grapes tasted like garlic? And you guys are like, this is fucking awful. They take a walk. But then you say to yourself, hey, look, what if you took an avocado and you cut it open and it was like an apple? How great would that be? Or even worse, what if you bit into an apple and it was like an avocado? Same kind of like creamy texture. You're not thinking about that with an apple. With apple, you're thinking crisp and refreshing. And then you bite into it and you get a mouthful of like cream. Yeah. And I know you're thinking like, Mike, what avocados are you buying to get a mouthful of cream? I mean creamy, like, the consistency of an avocado. If it gets ripe enough, you can actually spread the motherfucker. But and that's what I mean by creamy. Because an apple, you can't spread an apple. I don't give a fuck how old it gets. It just turns into juice and bruises. And like, man, fuck that. Nobody wants that on their conscience, right? Nobody in their right mind is out there like, oh man, give me an apple because it's gonna be full of juice and bruises. What was I saying? Oh, so anyway, Ken might walk in the middle of this, and who knows? Oh, and the Beatles joke I wrote. There you go. I don't know if the Beatles are the Beatles. I have no idea. But the thing is, I always try to research it because I don't want some fucking old-timey fan nerd to come wandering in and go, here's the thing. You didn't understand. Like Eagles. I think Eagles are just Eagles, not the Eagles. And if you see them live, they actually do a thing where, like, one of them, I don't know if it's Timothy B. Schmidt or the other guy. There's 87 guys in the Eagles. I think it's Timothy B. Schmidt. It's not, because Felder's not there anymore, right? And Meisner's not there. Who have they got? It's Henley, and then all of the other Eagles kids. It's Henley Walsh, the haired Vince Gill, country guy, and then and everybody else's children. They're all there. Like Linda Ronstadt's daughter's in the band now, I think. Anybody that got the Eagles fucked in the desert a million years ago and had a kid, that kid is now in the band. Jackson Brown's kid is in the band, I think. All of those fucking, everybody from Poco, they had a kid and they're in the band. At least they're in the road crew. So that's how the Eagles work. So the point is, Eagles were in Los Angeles last week, and one of them wanders to the microphone. One of Poco Jr. or Timothy B. Schmidt Jr. or Randy Meisner Jr. or Don Felder Jr. or Glenn Fry Jr. He's really in the band, Glenn Fry's kid. And I hear he's fucking tremendous. I hear he's really good. And people are mad about it. They're like, this isn't really the Eagles. Meh. And by the way, there is no greater fan of the Eagles than Edward G. Robinson. So he is clearly, what kind of show is this? You think the Eagles is a dated reference? I'm talking about Ed Sullivan and Edward G. Robinson. I tell you what, if you're an old Ed, you're going to wind up in this show. That's how it's going to work. Hey, Ed Meese. Hey, Ed Koch. How are you fellas doing? Getting name checked. I'm just name checking old Eds. That's how I handle my business. I just go ahead and name check old Eds, baby. That's how I handle this fucking podcast. I'm actually going to change the fucking name. Fuck the 40-year-old boy. Let's name check old Eds. Hey, Ed Podolak from the Kansas City Chiefs. Glad you wandered into the fucking fray. All right. This is a point in time where I stop the show and I tell you how great I am because I love me. I know you guys, because I hear from people. Like, there's a listener who's been listening from the beginning, and he wrote me an email, and he's like, hey, I don't like the opening. He didn't say it like that. You know how I read things. But he's just like, hey, as far as I'm concerned, like all that bee stuff, you don't have to do any of it. Tell a story. And okay, I understand your opinion, but this is the fun part for me. I mean, and all of it's fun. I like telling stories too, certainly. But as anybody who saw me live on the one-man tour, remember that 6 years ago when I thought I had a career? When I was doing live shows in fucking venues, and I was like, I can't just walk out here and just tell a story because then it's very Hamlet. Like and I used to say that even on stage. Like I have to have a skull in my hand to be like, alas, poor Yorick. Oh, I knew him well. By the way, Yorick's first name, Ed. You're not going to get a lot more dated Ed than that. Jeez, I couldn't even spit it out. I'm name checking old Ed Yorick. Let's name check old Ed Yorick. Let's name check old Robert Urich. Let's do that. So, folks, here's the deal. I got to stop saying here's the deal and here's the point. That's how I reboot and I reset, and I got to stop doing that. I got to just move smoothly through this thing that's coming out of my head with no script. I just got to go ahead and make sure that I stay ahead of it. I just got to keep my mouth moving, and whatever the fuck's going to fly out of my skull is going to get caught by the microphone and thrown into your ears, and everybody's going to go, hey, this is not the part I like. I like the part with stories. Well, this is one of those weeks where not a lot of stories, not a lot of stuff. Last week, what did I do? Jaden. Here's the thing I'll tell you. Little fucking Jaden exists. Young Jaden, remember I talked about young Jaden, who I Ubered around and he talked about helping me with my Twitch stuff. And I was like, all right, Jaden, you're totally on board and I'm on board. Let's do this. And then we talked past one another for a while and he appeared in a YouTube stream and I didn't know if it was really him. And then he sent me an email and this was true. And then last week he's like, hey man, I would actually come to your house and want to help you with the Twitch stuff. And I was like, all right, well, if you really want to do that, that's fine. Let's do it. And I said, well, Thursday works best for me. He goes, great. And then Wednesday came along and I didn't confirm with him. And then I woke up Thursday morning and I wrote him and I'm like, hey, Jaden, are you still coming by today? And that was a chicken shit thing to do because I didn't tell him my address. I didn't confirm with him on Wednesday. I just kind of sprung it on him because I'll be truthful with you. I was up really late Wednesday night. And so I was like, maybe I'll sleep in. But then I woke up at 11 o'clock because he was supposed to come over at noon. And at 11 o'clock, I woke up and I immediately texted him like, Jaden, you still coming over at noon? Like I'd been up since 8 waiting for him like a dumb fuck. But in reality, I'd been sleeping and kind of hoping he'd say he wasn't coming by. But he's like, sure, man, I'll definitely come by. All right, let's set up Jaden right now. He immediately apologizes for not getting back to me and telling me that he would love to come by. And he's really sorry that he didn't confirm with me. And I wrote him, I go, dude, you did nothing wrong here. First of all, you're doing me a goddamn favor. Second of all, I didn't write you yesterday when I should have given you my address and confirmed that you'd be coming by. So he was very nice. He said, yeah, man, I can be there like 12:30. And he said he had another appointment in the Valley. So I said, great. So he comes by and I told him, I said, hey, look, just buzz me on my phone when you get here because my buzzer doesn't work at the front gate because I don't have a fucking landline. You have to buzz me or you have to text me and I'll come let you in. I said, or if you can't find a parking spot because there's street cleaning on my street on Thursday and Friday, I said, buzz me and I'll come click you in the back gate. So I went around to he did that and I went around to the back gate and I let him in. First of all, let's talk about young Jaden. He has a nicer car than me. This kid's coming over to help me set up my Twitch. I'm 51 years old. This kid's got a BMW, like a fucking pristine Snow White BMW. And I'm like, Christ, of course. A successful kid. And I'm not rooting against his success. Certainly I'm happy for him. And I should take pride in the fact that a young, successful entrepreneur kid like Jaden would take an interest in helping an old, decrepit old man like myself. Because I'm quite frankly, I'm his Ed Sullivan. Like right now, Ed Sullivan to me is like me to Jaden. That's the age difference even, for fuck's sake. He probably sees me as like a hunched over, slick back, big lipped guy who's going, the Beatles. I mean, he's that. I'm that to him. But so for him to even take the time and come to help me was a gift. Amazing. But then he pulls in and I tell him, I go, hey, get as tight as you can because, you kind of, people might back out. I don't want him to hit his car and I don't want him to be blocking it because people get mad at my building. And he did. And then he gets out of the car. And let's talk about Jaden for just a second. Young Jaden, when I first met him, I picked him up in an Uber and he sat in the back seat. And in the back seat, he was in the dark and he had his hockey gear on and stuff. And we talked. And I get a vibe, he was going away to school, so I kind of knew how old he was, but I didn't really think about it. And then he's contacted me in the interval on YouTube and stuff like that, and on email. So I only remember him in the dark in the back seat, which, I mean, that doesn't sound good either, considering what I talked about the last time we did the show. But I could see him in the rearview mirror, and we wound up having a conversation and stuff. But it's still fucking shadows and darkness. So he pulls up, he gets in the BMW as tight as he can, he gets out of it, and this fucking kid, and by the way, that word is the optimal word here, that is the operative word in this entire extravaganza, fucking kid. Jaden is, well, first of all, he just turned 20. This kid's not even old enough to drink, okay? He gets out of the car also, I think he's probably 6'3", he might be an inch taller than me, it looked like. And he's got to weigh 150. I mean, he's every bit the pipe cleaner a young man would be, maybe 160. And he's got like, he doesn't look frail. He looks wiry, like kind of gristly. Like he could fuck you up if he wanted to. I don't know, why am I making him tough? I don't have to do that. What I mean to say is he had like muscles in his forearms. You know what I mean? He wasn't just like some skinny little pussy kid who'll get out of his car. He was just like a tall, normal. I guess normal. That's the word I'm looking for because I'm abnormal. I'm 6'2", 340. So I'm everything wrong with it. He and I standing next to another, we look like the number 10. You know what I mean? It's that kind of fucking disparity because he looks like a normal dude, but he's about 6'3", 160. So he's skinny. He's fucking skinny. I'm not gonna lie. He's a skinny dude. It's funny. I want to talk about because he looked like he had the arms of a hockey player because he's obviously been stick handling whatever because he had forearm muscles. But I feel stupid describing the 20-year-old kid's forearm muscles. How fucking dumb is that? The point is, anyway, skinny and a kid, like totally young, and but still nicer car than me. And he comes in the house, and we're talking, and I'm learning about him, and he's learning about me because we don't know much about each other except that we had a mutual love of hockey, and he's come over to take pity on an old man and help him fix stuff. So I did find out that Jaden wasn't exactly the Twitch expert that I thought he was, and he also was not nearly as prepared for what he had to do at my house as he thought he was. Because I needed everything. Like I wanted to know where the webcam went, where this went, how to do all this stuff. So basically what we did that day was we installed all of the software and everything onto my laptop. So I have all of the software necessary to stream. The webcam software is on there. I don't even know the thing that fucking Gio told me to buy, but it's the thing that allows you to, it's a hub. And you plug it into your computer, and then you plug your console into it, so the game comes through, and then the webcam films you. But the thing that I didn't understand is the puzzle of streaming the game with me also on the screen, like where I'm in the little corner and you can see the game, if anybody wants to do that. But I mean, that's the thing, though, is nobody really has to see me, I don't think. But I thought they did. But then Gio sends me these clips of other guys playing games on YouTube, and you can't see them. All you hear is their voices. And I don't know if that's annoying or not. I will tell you this, it annoys me. Just seeing dudes playing a game without seeing them and hearing them talk. But it also annoys me because these guys couldn't be less entertaining. And I know that's probably a strong way to put it, but these guys are, they're not funny or interesting. To me, again, I'm an old person. Perhaps young Jaden would like them. I don't know. Regardless, Jaden and I are talking. He's the nicest kid, super polite. And he actually, hold on, I'm hearing a noise outside. That could be Ken. Ken could be coming in. But Jaden, or could be Jaden. What if Jaden pulled up? He's here in Canada. He went and decided to help me out. At one point, he's just like, so how was Seattle? Because he's showing an interest in my life, which is very nice. And I said, it was great, man. Both shows went great. And then I went to a couple of concerts. He goes, who'd you see in concert? I said, I saw Pearl Jam. He goes, oh, cool. Mike, I hope I don't offend you, but I have no idea who that is. I mean, dudes, this kid's, he's 20. And he shouldn't know Pearl Jam, really. I mean, if you live your life and you like certain other kinds of music at the age of 20, because when you think about it, if he's 20, that means he was born in 1998. Pearl Jam's first album their first album came out in 91. And, that's when I was trapped in, it was 91? Yeah, I believe it came out it might have been 90, I think it was 91. So that's when 10 came out. So that's 7 years before he's even fucking born. So that's like asking me to like the Cowsills. You know what I mean? Because I'm assuming they're from the 1960. Is that where they're from? Because I'm born in 67. But I mean, I don't like any of that fucking music from 1960. Who the fuck wants that? You know what I mean? I'm sure and now someone's going to write me and go, what about this song? Yes, I love that song. All right, I do like some stuff from 1960. But I'm a different animal than Jaden. The world has changed. You know what I mean? You can like what you like and be niche. When I was growing up, you had fucking radio, and radio force-fed you what you thought you'd like or didn't like, and it didn't matter because you had to fucking listen to it. So I learned a lot about bands and stuff like that through my mom's record collection. I guess Elvis from the 60s. All right, I guess I like him. But also my mom's record collection. But then, and Max is going to go Buddy Holly's from 1960. Yes, I like him too. All right, I like all these people. I love the 60s. But again, as I've said, I was exposed to more because it was force-fed to me, because with radio and the media I grew up with, there was no choice. It's not like I could go, well, I'm just going to go ahead and look for the music I like and only play that all day. Not until you got older, certainly, when you could afford your own albums and cassettes. But Jaden has grown up in an era when at the touch of a button, he has all of the recorded works of history, or he could have the recorded works of all history, I phrase that indelicately, and he can listen to whatever the fuck he wants. So why wouldn't you find the stuff you like? How many times when you were a kid listening to AM radio did you just go, oh, fuck, this song I can hear once, but if I have to hear Life is a Rock, but the radio rolled me another 100 times, I'm going to throw my fucking radio into the sea. But you had to, because there was nothing to do with radio. You could punch buttons and look for something else. But I mean, when I was a kid, WOLS was on AM, and we weren't on to FM yet. But then when you got to FM, you had the Loop and MET, and you could find stuff back and forth on there, but you didn't have a ton of choices. So you had to kind of listen to what they were fucking selling you. And but Jaden doesn't have that. If Jaden's got Spotify, he can fucking listen to the world. If he's got YouTube and iTunes and everything else, and iTunes is even for old people now. iTunes isn't for young people. They all stream. They go Spotify. They go perhaps Apple Music. Hey, I'll throw this out there for you. Anybody got iTunes or Apple Music or Spotify? I'm familiar with Spotify. I have it on my desktop, but I haven't sprung for the professional version yet, where I got to pay for it, which is a drag. Because I'll listen, I'm like, oh man, Greta Van Fleet has a new song, and I'll go to click it, and then I have to listen to an ad for ointment, and it's like, dude, I don't fucking give a flying fuck about ointment. Nobody wants to hear about ointment. I want to hear a Greta Van Fleet song. Now, if Greta Van Fleet is singing a song about ointment, I'd be like, God damn, that is the most Zeppelin-esque story about a topical balm I've ever heard in my goddamn life. And then I'm on board. If Greta Van Fleet decides to sing me something about fucking ointment with a mandolin and a Robert Plant yowl, then I'm on board. But if it's Spotify just with some fucking guy going, zits aren't fun. Oh, shut up, you and your fucking ad. But I got to pay $15 a month to shut that guy up. So I haven't taken that leap yet. I haven't made the leap for streaming. Here's why. Because when I mostly listen to music, it's in the car. So I've got Sirius and I'm listening to that. Or I'm on the plane. So when I'm on the plane, I'm 4 hours in the air. I'm not exactly able to tune into what I want, because to me, I'm like, Spotify streaming. How the fuck am I going to get that in the air? Because I take Southwest all the time, and there's no Wi-Fi that allows you to stream fucking media on your phone. But someone told me you can download playlists from Spotify and keep them on your phone and then listen to them while you're in the sky. But that just seems like a whole lot of work. And by a whole lot of work, it seems like something, any work at all, which is, is something I don't want to do. I got no interest in any fucking work. I'm out. But the point is, so tell me, if you like Apple Music, you like Spotify, because Apple Music keeps chasing me. Every time I sign into my iTunes or whatever, I go to the iTunes store, it's like, try Apple Music on us for free for 4 months or 3 months or 6 months or whatever. They want to give it to me free. But I've been told that Spotify is much better than Apple Music. Who knows? I have no clue. So if you're out there and you've got a choice or a preference, let me know, please. I only do what I'm told by strangers. So one of you strangers step up, or 10 of you strangers step up and tell me the difference between Spotify and Apple Music and which one you like and why. Because I got to go streaming at this point. Even though I'm 51 and I've got like 8,000 gigs of music of my own, sometimes you get sick of your own music. Because I will tell you this, I was making a playlist to fly out here to Canada, because I have a Milwaukee playlist, a Boston playlist. When I flew to towns, I made playlists for myself so I could listen to them on the flight. Ken, is that you?
That's me.
Ken has arrived. All right, because I told them, I warned them that you would be coming in at some point, because I got a late start. So I apologize for that in your house. Are you wearing a gun, Ken?
No guns safely stored.
Ken doesn't have his gun on. See, I wanted him to have a gun on. That would be fucking fantastic. Then we get an element of danger to this goddamn show.
Get the gun?
Ken, yes, get the gun immediately. Ken, I got bad news for you. While you were out, I found the gun. I'm doing the show. I'm just fondling it, staring at it. Because again, as we've talked about with this show, sometimes it's going to end with a gunshot. I don't want to, and it would be cliche to do that as the final show of the season, right? I don't want to do that like in an episode 52, because then you're all ready for it. You see it coming. Wouldn't it be great if in episode 8 of year 11, you just heard a fucking gunshot and the show was canceled? Fucking over, man. We'll call it a great, you ever hear about the Irish goodbye? We'll call that the Canadian exit. If you got an Irish goodbye, that's when you just disappear without saying anything to anybody. The Canadian exit is just a gunshot over a live mic. Boom. Boom. Tick, tick, boom. You know what? I go grenade. Maybe I go grenade. That's a Canadian exit. You hear me pull the pin and 10 seconds later, I'm out. Just a huge fucking explosion. But as we've talked about, who then posts the final show? Is it going to be you? You need me on that wall. What is it going to be? You, Goldberg, or Weinstein? What's the Jewish name that just drips out of fucking Nicholson's mouth in that show? Because he's talking about Santiago. I know, because that's the name you always hear. He's like, Santiago was a poor Marine. Santiago was a poor Marine. And that's me doing Jack. Who was I doing earlier? Didn't I do somebody else? Oh, I was doing that one fan. I don't like that. I did Ed Sullivan earlier. Now I'm doing Nicholson from A Few Good Men. Listen, folks, you're getting more than you bargained for this week. You tuned in to hear Mike Schmidt, and then you just heard this litany, this coterie of characters. You've heard me just bust out of Sullivan. You bust out of Nicholson. Now, certainly, I'm doing them poorly, but I'm doing them. That's the most important part. I'm doing it and doing it and doing it well, as they say in the parlance of kids and their rapping. I haven't told Ken this, by the way. His house is hot, so I tried to turn the air on. I tried to lower it as much as I could, but it's like, and now it's still hot in here. I'm kind of sweating even doing this show, but I don't want to get up in the middle of the show and turn the air like down again, because it says that it's 77 degrees here in the house. It was 82 earlier, and then I turned the thermostat down to 71. But that only got it to 77, and now the air has turned itself off. And now I'm sitting here, I'm a little damp. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm moist. Which you like better? You like the fact that I'm doing a damp show, or you like the fact that I'm moist during the show? You pick. Put up a poll. Damp or moist? and then Spotify or Apple Music. It's the show of choices, ladies and gentlemen. I demand choices. I demand selections. I demand to hear from you. I should be doing the show live. This should be a stream where you get to go ahead and jump in real time and vote on whatever the fuck you like and whatever you think is going to work. So Jaden comes to my house. He does whatever he can do. He was there for a couple of hours, and we wound up talking and had a good time. It was fun. But again, like I said, such a young dude, and so skinny. And we talked about his home life. Dude, let's put it this way. His dad is 10 years younger than me. That's fucking insane. His dad is 41. Again, this dude comes over to help me. His dad is 10 years younger than me. Think about that. I'm going to put that into perspective. When I was 10 years old, his dad was 0. How about that? Does that bring enough perspective for you? When I was 20, his dad was 10. His dad wasn't even in fucking middle school yet. When I was 20, when I was in Tahoe, his dad was 10 years old. And then this kid comes over to fucking help me with the Twitch. God damn it. But I guess I should feel honored and happy that a kid that young would decide to go ahead and make time for me. Because otherwise, most people are just like, you're old, get lost. And I kept saying that while I was with him. I'm like, dude, I'm the oldest man alive. He's like, stop, because you're hilarious. I'm like, nah, it doesn't matter. Still old. So I'm here. I'm in Canada now. Ken has arrived. And we're going out tonight. We're going out tonight. That's Rosario Dawson from Rent. Oh, so that's what I was talking about when I was making the fucking playlist for my Canadian trip before Ken walked in and interrupted me. I was just trying to find songs I haven't heard in forever, songs I haven't listened to, because I have the Milwaukee playlist, the Atlanta playlist, Boston, all these previous trips I've made, so I listen to those playlists on the plane. But there's a lot of overlap on those playlists, I'm not going to lie to you. And I found out that I've burned myself out on a lot of stuff. Like I love Rush. I don't need to hear Rush anymore. I just don't. I can go ahead and put them on a shelf for a little while. Kiss, these bands that I grew up with that I loved, I find myself, I skip them. You know what I mean? The live version of Come On and Love Me, I love it. It's on every playlist, but at the same time, I got to fucking skip it. I got to get moving. Now, I'll never get sick of Sure Know Something. And I'll never get sick of Analog Kid by Rush. Those will wind up on playlists, and those will be fine. But most of the time, I have to go ahead and skip the stuff. I will tell you this. The worst, when I click on a playlist, when I get in the shower, as you know, I can't leave the shower if there's a bad song. That's the rule I've made for myself. So sometimes I'll take a 15-minute shower. Ken is wearing Linus's shirt. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. He just walked in. You're the stripiest dude I've ever seen, for fuck's sake. And not even like, dude, these stripes are not, this is like, I'm going to call this teal, and it looks almost like a maroonish brown. And then I'm going to call that like a spring green, like almost like a pea green. And so, I mean, he's here. He's in the house. He's like, this is if Linus wanted to be found in the dark, this is the shirt he would wear before he left his house. He'd be like, and just in case, Charlie Brown, you lure me into the pumpkin patch, if I want the great pumpkin to find me this year, I'm going to wear this goddamn glow-in-the-dark fucking shirt. That is not a cop shirt. I hope you wear that as a cop, because you know what? You could just, that's you know what that is? That's a Steve Buscemi, hey, fellow teens t-shirt, where you could just wander in undercover to a high school and try to buy some doobies. Hey, fellow teens, like my shirt? Who's got some weed? Which among you has the grass? All right, so Ken, I should tell you this, Ken, when I was talking about doing the podcast live for people, I was like, I don't know if you and John are going to be here again, because they were here the last time I did the Toronto podcast. And like I said, I threw this out to people in Canada, and they're like, yeah, we're good. Nobody needs to hear you fucking talk. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. And then Ken was like, well, if I do listen to the show, like, should I laugh? He goes, because I'm not a big laugher. I said, well, you don't have to laugh. I go, but he goes, but I didn't want to, because I didn't want it to ruin the show. And I'm like, dude, laughter only enhances the show, because it makes me think that I'm semi-entertaining and I should proceed in that manner. Somehow I should go ahead on the through line I've discovered, like talking about your Linus stripy shirt, and you would like that, and you would laugh, and I would laugh, and the crowd at home would all laugh, and we'd have an uproarious good time. But if you don't want to laugh, please don't. That's another thing. I don't ever want to force it. I don't need two guys just because I told them, I go, what if, you don't have to sit and be like, yeah, did you like that one, Ken? Oh, yes, sir. I mean, you don't have to be fucking Ed McMahon. But if you like something, go ahead and laugh. But I will tell you this, he's been in the room now for 8 minutes, hasn't laughed once. I'm not happy. Oh my God, he's pulling whiskey out at 3:30 in the afternoon. I guess so. Did you shoot anybody? Were there any cop stuff today? Hey, all right, let's talk about Ken for just a second. What's that? Cop talk with Ken Fairhall. I've given his last name. I shouldn't give his last name on the podcast. You're a cop. I shouldn't do that. Well, all right, let's just do that. We'll talk about me. First, well, let's tie up the Jaden thread. Jaden came. We did as much as we could. Twitch is on the way. And I've done you are really doing shots of whiskey. That's not even a joke. He just threw back a shot of whiskey. And that's, what was that, one barrel, seven barrel? What the fuck is it? I saw it on the fridge. It's the Stock and Barrel single malt whiskey, ladies and gentlemen, from Canada. Looks like 46 proof. Is that what that says there at the bottom?
Yeah.
All right, 46 proof. So are you going to blow fire now with your whiskey breath? Oh my God, I smelled that. I'm not joking. He literally just blew breath out, and I got a little lightheaded. I got a little woozy. That was fucking brutal. Now, you can't get all fucking polluted tonight. We're going to an escape room tonight. No, he's the cop. He's the guy in charge of everything.
Just to level me off.
Yeah, all right, you can take the edge off? All right, good plan. Because we're going to an escape room tonight. I think I mentioned that earlier in the broadcast, folks. There are plans for this evening. It's Tuesday, and we're going to an escape room, which means we're going it's me and possibly Kendra and our good friend Ken and John. And I think Tanya and Mike are coming. And I don't know who else. I've been contacted by Michael Woods. He texted me out of the fucking blue, and I didn't have his number in my phone. So he's like, Mike, I hope you had a wonderful trip to Canada, and I'm hoping to see you later in the week, except I'm getting married. And I'm like, oh, cool. Who are you? And then he wrote me today, and it was Michael Woods. And then also our friend Lacey, she's contacted us, and she's going to be attending some stuff with us, I think. Although she had a surgery recently, I hope she's feeling better. But the whole point is, it's the whole Canadian gang. We're putting the whole Canadian band back together, folks. We're just it's the fucking NWA. The Nova Scotia World Order. That's how we're handling it. And we're going to take care of business in the fucking snow. It's not snowy. It's hot as fuck up here. So let's tie up Jaden again. Jaden came, and it looks like things are going to be good. And Twitch is en route. We're going to make it happen at some point, even if his dad. The only way I don't get Twitch up and running soon is if Jaden gets grounded, because holy fuck is that guy every minute of 20 he's just so thin and skinny and fucking young, and he's got the youngest dad, and I whatever, so that's fine, and I'm sure his mom is lovely. I didn't get to really explore too much about his family, but I hope he's good, and I hope he continues to help me going forward. So we're here. I should tell you this, by the way. Let's talk about this. The Bears won last night on Monday Night Football, so everybody can stop worrying about me jumping off of a ledge. I've come in from the ledge, and I'm in the room now. I'm no longer out there looking at the street below and thinking it's a good idea, because people wrote me, and you were very nice, because there were people like, I hate sports, and yet I liked that show, and believe me, that's the shit I love hearing. I love hearing attaboys and the fact that you're on board, because I do a show like that, man, and I think I'm going to lose everybody, because it's basically my fucking feverish skull as I think about the Bears and loss and getting fucking trampled and whatever the fuck else. And they didn't get trampled. They lost on that's even worse. They didn't lose by 80 points last week, as we know. They lost in the last couple minutes, which is a drag. But everybody, I did the show, and normally the show's not that sports heavy, but with that fucking game kicked me in the balls. So that's just what it turned into last week. So thank you to everybody who reached out and said they enjoyed that show, but also who were like, are you going to be okay with the Bears this week? I am, because they won, so that's good news. And they look good doing it. The defense did, at least. The defense looks fucking fierce. The offense, but our boy Mitch is learning on the job, and everybody else is going to be fine. He's got enough weapons that are going to fucking carry him through. He's going to be good. Right now, I said 7-9 before the season started, and then I went to maybe 8-8, 9-7 with the addition of Khalil Mack. But looking at this defense and looking at the schedule going forward, that's a tough division that they're in, but I can see this team going 10-6. I can see this team making some real noise and possibly getting a playoff spot. I'm excited about this defense. Now, of course, everybody gets hurt. That's a fucking total coin flip, and who the fuck knows what happens. But we'll see what happens. Who cares? But the point is, thank you. I'm off the fence with the Bears win and all that stuff. And now I'm in Canada. I flew out here. A guy died on the plane. That was interesting. Died is strong. There was a guy on my plane because I flew from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, and then from Las Vegas to Buffalo, because I flew into Buffalo. Couldn't fly into Toronto because I took Southwest. And honestly, if the guys in Canada will come get me in Buffalo, that seems like the move that I should always make, because then I don't have to wait in customs and and go through the line and all that declaration bullshit. Because when Ken and I drove through from America into Canada, we may as well have been carrying a saber-toothed tiger, and they would not have fucking cared. We could have had a fucking bomb. We could have had anything you could possibly imagine in the car, because this woman didn't even stand up. She like slid a window just enough so she could peek an eyeball out. You know who let us into Canada? Tim Allen's neighbor in the fucking whatever show that was, where he just peeked over the fence, Nelson or Wilson or whatever the fuck. That's who let us into Canada. We pulled up to the gate. They peeked over the fence. They said, "Hey, you guys got passports?" We said, "Yeah." They didn't even have to see him. They said, "Okay, where are you from?" He said, "Canada." I said, "America." They said, "Why are you coming to town?" We said, "I don't know, Canadian stuff." They said, "Come on in." That's how nice they are up here. They didn't fucking care. And also, I think they probably realize that so many people are leaving America at this point just to get out of this fucking hellscape and head up to Canada. They're just being kind and nice. They're like, "Yeah, you know what? You've been through a lot. You're American. It's been a couple of rough years. Why don't you just come up here and pet a moose and have some poutine and just relax? Just relax for about an hour or so." Everybody should do that. Everybody should just take a fucking weird Canadian 1 hour vacation. All you Americans just line up at the border, cross over, and come up here and just throw a snowball at a count, because they got counts up here still, like counts and dukes, and guess who runs the country, right? You guys have your government's all prime ministers and bullshit. Yeah, they don't have a president up here. You know what? Let's get away from the president, folks. Let's just, everybody hop into your jalopies. Everybody go north. Everybody just drive right up into America's hat and see like the counts and the countesses and a princess and a duchess and whoever the fuck else they got up here, a prime minister. That's great. That's two words in a title. President is too formal. I want a prime minister. Because again, and by the way, I don't know if you know this. This is true in Canada. The prime minister, you can only run when your age is a prime number. So it whittles down the candidates completely. It's fantastic. You don't have any chance of some fucking reality show host stumbling into the office and then fucking everybody over by going, "I am immediately declaring that bananas are illegal." It's like, what? You dumb fuck. Why are you doing that? What if it's a banana shaped like a tomato? How about that? Would that be a problem? Ken, that'll make sense to you when you listen to the show back, because I talked about it earlier. He made a face like, "Banana shaped like a tomato. What the fuck is that?" We had a debate earlier, and by we I mean me in this empty chair, about I talked about layers. I mean, this is, by the way, this is really a good broadcast. I'm going to repeat for you the first 10 minutes of the show while people listen. No, I talked about like peeling the layers on something, but everybody talks about like a banana or an onion. Like, let's peel, but if you just peel the layers on an onion, you just got more fucking onion. There's no layers. It's just onion on onion on onion. And a banana. It's skin and banana. I said, now, if you peel the banana and there was a fucking tomato in there, now you got layers. Now you got something to fucking talk about. And then somehow Ed Sullivan got worked into all of this because it was a really big shoe. It's a long story. Ken, you can't wait to hear the first 10 minutes. Oh my God, look at you. I know you're thinking to yourself, right, hold on, folks. He's pouring himself another shot of whiskey. And I can't blame him at this point. I should knock some back. Hey, wouldn't that be an experiment? What if I got Canadian drunk on the goddamn show? No, I'm going to an escape room. I can't do that. I got to be, because if I get drunk and then I go to the escape room and then I just fall asleep. Now they just throw shit on me and everybody's got to escape from me because I'm in there talking and nobody wants to fucking get out. So I flew from Vegas to Buffalo. And it's so funny. You think to yourself, well, look, nobody's going to fucking Buffalo. It's going to be fine. It's going to be an empty plane. Yeah, fuck that. I mean, they not only they have people in every seat, they had people on your laps. I mean, it was just this fucking overstuffed, double-stuffed Oreo of a flight. And so I'm waiting, I'm flying, I'm doing fine. And this woman who sat next to me was very squishy. And I am also squishy. And so we squished together. It was great. I'm enjoying, I actually like the other fat person sitting in the middle and joining themselves with me in a fat cabal. I enjoy that. That's not bad. Because then, like I said, it's better than the skinny person who looks at me with disgust. Now, you know what? I need to fly with Jaden. That would be worth a ticket price. If I could just go ahead and buy Jaden fucking a ticket everywhere and he just sat in the middle. Because that is a dude who would, he's like a straw. He's like a straw of a human being. Like, you ever... This will describe what Jaden looks like as a human being. Have you ever seen a straw in a bottle of Coke? That's what fucking Jaden looks like. That skinny, that streamlined glass Coke bottle with the straw sticking out of the top. There's your buddy Jaden. That's young Jaden for you. So he should fly next to me at all times, every flight. So I get in the plane to Buffalo. There's a million fucking people on it. Me and Squishy Lady are next to one another, and we're squished into one another. And this is the best part. She's listening to something funny. I'm assuming my show. She probably had a podcast on, listening to my great show. And don't worry, nobody hears your opening mail, Ken. He literally goes to open his mail, and then he held it to the side like, oh, I don't think anybody will hear this being torn in the kitchen. Every noise is being picked up in this cabinet. Even your carrots crunching is being picked up. So Squishy Lady sits next to me, and she's got her earbuds in, and I got my earbuds in. And every once in a while, she jiggles me. Like, because she's laughing at something on her podcast or on her fucking earbuds. So she'd be like, and she's got that Santa belly thing happening. She's like, yeah, she was just round. She was. I wasn't zoftig. She wasn't. I wouldn't even say she was fat. She was just squishy. And she had she's tucked into some leggings and some other tight clothes, and she's spilling out a little bit, and she had big boobs, and I was fine with all of it. But we were so kind of fused together that when she would laugh, she would jiggle, and then it would jiggle me at the same time. It was like we were some Rube Goldbergian machine of reacting to laughter. It was fun. We were together. We were fused together, and I enjoyed it. And periodically, she'd like kind of turn over and she'd look at me and I'd look in her eyes and I'd just be like, "You okay?" She'd like, "Yeah," and I'd give her a thumbs up because I wanted to make sure I wasn't squishing her. But I mean, we were both squishing each other and it was fine. But then 2/3 of the way through the flight, even through my earbuds, all the lights come on the plane. Yes, the lights came on through my earbuds. I shouldn't have said that. But anyway, I got my earbuds in, but the lights come on the plane and I don't take my earbuds out because I'm not losing my music for anybody. But then I hear an announcement and I see everybody kind of perk up and look around and I'm like, well, that's probably something I should pay attention to on a plane. I would imagine if they've turned the lights on and everybody in the plane has started to look around, I should pay attention. So I took out one earbud. That's all you get from me. I'm still going to listen to music in the other ear. But I take out the earbud and I listen, and it turns out they're putting out the word, if there are any medical professionals on the plane, please, in an orderly fashion, make your way to the front of the cabin. And I'm assuming that's never good news on a plane, even if they didn't feed us the fish. But now I'm going to go straight up Robert Hayes. I mean, I'm just gonna wind up fucking having to fly the plane. We're gonna have to get Julie Haggerty to fucking inflate the other guy and blow him. It's gonna be fucking amazing. But sure enough, people start getting up. But I will tell you this, by the way, I was comforted by the fact of how many medical professionals were on the plane. But at the same time, in my head, I go, there's not this many fucking medical professionals on the plane. Like, I wanted to stand up and go, are you a nurse? Sit the fuck down. They don't need a nurse. They want a doctor who can actually do a job. I'm kidding. All of you nurses out there, please know I'm joking. I did it on purpose to make you mad for a second. I know nurses are better than me. You're better human beings and you're fantastic. But at the same time, like 12 people went to the front of the plane. So if it's 9 doctors and 3 nurses or 12 nurses, whatever the fuck, that's fine. But I know at some point in that mix, that there was a veterinarian. One guy, he's just like, well, excuse me, I'm a medical professional, let me through. And he got to the front and he's like, is there a snake who's sick? And they're like, fuck you, dude. There's no sick snake. Go grab a seat. He's like, well, I'm a veterinarian. What can I do? They're like, well, you can go sit down and think about dreaming of saving a horse. I mean, you can't fucking do anything on the plane. Unless the husky that was fucking I got on the plane. This is totally true. Therapy dogs. Every flight I take, there's a therapy dog. Every flight I take, there's somebody with a dog or a pet. I got on the plane, front row, full-grown husky. Not a puppy, not little. I mean, this dog, when it laid down, it was across the feet of all 3 people in the front row. That's how big this husky was. It was beautiful. It was blow-dried. It was the fur was soft. It had those like white blue eyes. I mean, it was the most gorgeous dog you'll ever see. Hold on, we're getting a message. It was the most gorgeous dog you'll ever see. But therapy dog, really? I mean, maybe in Alaska, if you're in the Iditarod, you've got that kind of therapy dog. But be dragging that fucking thing on the goddamn plane, that doesn't make any sense. But if he's sick, by all means, get the veterinarian from the back. Instead of him going, hey, excuse me, I understand there's a rat with indigestion. Sit the fuck down, vet. Nobody needs you. We need fucking nurses and doctors. Real people to get their job done. So I'm in the back. I just had that was a weird cough. I'm in the back, and then all the medical professionals wander to the front like zombies in The Walking Dead, and they surround like row 4, and they're in a semicircle, and they're 8 deep because, like I said, there's 12 people. They're all fucking around this one fucking chair. And then the announcement comes out. They're like, the front lavatory is closed. There is a lavatory in the back. Please use that. Do not approach the front of the plane any longer unless you're a medical professional. The seatbelt sign is on. I mean, they're starting to lay the law down on this plane. So now I'm starting to wonder if patient zero's on here, because there's all these stories now. Like, I'm sure you saw Vanilla Ice was on a plane from Morocco or something, and he wound up reporting live from the scene of an outbreak of measles, whatever the fuck just happened to him. But now I'm thinking, man, am I going to get the fucking the HIV? Am I going to get the AIDS? Is there going to be an airborne AIDS I'm going to catch on the plane? Because I don't know what's going on now. These diseases, they're fucking totally straining themselves all differently. We talked earlier about how I didn't think Magic Johnson had AIDS. I wasn't sure if he did. But with all I know about AIDS, you could put it in a needle. So, I mean, quite frankly, you could shoot it into my veins and I'd know even less. But there could be fucking AIDS, airborne AIDS. I don't know. All I know is they're calling every doctor in the fucking world to the front of the plane and forbidding us from going to the front of the plane. So somebody's contagious. There's some sort of outbreak. Some sort of monkeypox is happening. I don't know if there's an Ebola virus. This guy's melting all over the fucking the cabin. But instead, me and Squishy just kind of looked at each other like, well, I mean, if we're going to die, we're going to do it in a squishy way. This is going to be fine. And we put our earbuds back in. But for the next 45 minutes, they were around this guy, gathered around the seat. And then when we landed, they made us wait. We couldn't get off the plane. They had to bring a stretcher onto the plane for whoever the fuck this dude was. And I didn't see if they covered his head. And also, I didn't see anything. I didn't see if it was a lady, a man. I don't know if they covered his head. I don't know if he was dead. It could have been the dog. It could have been the husky. I got no fucking clue. Whoever it was, we had to wait on the tarmac while they went and brought a fucking stretcher in and dragged him off the goddamn plane. And let me ask you something. There's only one thing worse than finding yourself deathly ill on a continental flight. That would be knowing that your final destination is Buffalo. Don't you think that's got to be the worst part of all of it? Just knowing that your final resting place is going to be on a beef on weck bun while fucking Jim Kelly coughs his cancer in your face. I mean, that's going to be just fucking terrible. Why does Jim Kelly get hurt in this, by the way? I don't know. Maybe it was him on the plane. I have no idea, folks. We're going to Buffalo. Could have been Jim Kelly. They're flying him in. His cancer kicks in. And they're going to drag him out in a goddamn stretcher. Maybe it's Thurman Thomas. Maybe it's Daryl Talley. You ever see Daryl Talley? That's an ugly motherfucker. Maybe he wasn't even sick. They just saw Daryl Talley and they went, that guy looks like the living embodiment of mumps. Let's throw him on a goddamn stretcher and get him off the fucking plane. And he's like, hey, man, I'm just Daryl Talley. I was voted one of the ugliest dudes by Inside Sports. They're like, well, you're certainly the ugliest dude on this plane. We're putting you on a stretcher and rolling you out the fucking door. But I landed in Buffalo. I'm safe. Whatever happened to that guy, I'm sure he's dead, and I feel bad for him and his family. But he delayed me exiting the plane by 10 minutes, so fuck that guy and his corpse. But I get out, I go and I get picked up by our friend Ken, who, now look, I'm coming in at 12:15. Plane lands at 12:15. But because of the delays and the stretchers and all that stuff, I don't even get off the plane until like 12:40. So I text our friend Ken and I'm like, hey man, we're on the ground. We taxied. We're over here. And he's like, I'm still a half hour away. Because folks, as you know, I am the goddamn talent. So I should absolutely wait in the Buffalo airport as long as I possibly can. How are you not getting there on time to get me? I don't know if maybe he, on his off hours, just decided to stop and pull people over and show them his badge and give them a ticket for no reason. I don't know if he's playing cop on his way to pick me up, but he's late. And it doesn't bother me. That's fine. I'm sure everything's fine. And I say that because he's in the room right now. But at the same time, I got off the plane and I'm like, fuck this. So I get off and that's fine. And I will tell you this, the airport was fucking dead until I got outside. And then like another plane landed and just people come streaming out of the fucking building. It's crazy busy, which was weird. I'm like, who are these people who are going to fucking Buffalo? But maybe they're all just going to Canada. So Ken, he's late. He shows up. And that's fine. I get in the car and so we're leaving. He has to drive to Toronto, which is, I don't know if it's like 60 miles. I have no idea how fucking far it is. So it was amazing that he would even come to pick me up. As I talked before, last time I was here, John dropped me off in Buffalo. And on Saturday, someone's got to drop me off in Buffalo. I'm sure they're all fucking drawing straws to see who gets the short one and has to take me out there. But it's fucking 1 in the morning, 1:15. I get in the car with Ken. We leave the Buffalo airport and, by 2 in the morning, we actually found the freeway to go ahead and head back to Canada. I don't know. This is Ken's town. I mean, or at least part of his town. He's got to know it. But here's the thing about Ken. Like I mentioned, he's a cop. And as a cop, he's decided that he doesn't need a GPS. He knows where everything is in the world, and he doesn't need a map. So he's going in circles. We see the same casino 4 times. There's Big Ben in Parliament. We're driving the fuck around. I can't figure out what he's doing. And finally I say, hey, do you have a map app in your phone? He's like, yeah, I guess I should probably use that. I'm like, yeah, maybe you should. Jesus Christ. I'm not annoyed because, again, I'm just talking to Ken and we're having a good time. But at the same time, when you see the same landmark 6 times in a row, first of all, that's a goddamn miracle because how many landmarks are in Buffalo? Second of all, when you see the same fucking thing and you drive past it, you're just kind of like, this seems odd. And also, I needed water because my mouth, as I mentioned before, I had somehow contracted the Ebola virus on the plane, so I needed to wash my mouth out. And we couldn't even find it. There was no gas stations in downtown Buffalo. There was nothing. It was fucking crazy. So, but we finally hit the road and we headed up to Buffalo. We were fine. We found the 90. We stopped at a gas station. I got some water. And you know me, when I come to Canada, I got to have the weird Canadian food. They had ketchup-flavored potato chips, which I've had before, so I didn't buy them. They had a bacon and something chip, and I was like, well, that looks like a good plan until folks. I saw Old Dutch had marketed their roast chicken potato chips. Oh, dude, you know me. You know I love a good meat chip. So I see a goddamn meat chip just sitting there lurking. I'm like, oh, I got to get these roast chicken chips. So I get those. I get some water. We bail. And I should tell you this, Canada, again, the safest country in the world, because we pulled up to this it's a gas station. There's a McDonald's with a gas station behind it. We pull into the gas station. The one door for the Tim Hortons is locked, but then the door for the gas station seemed like it was locked. But then the clerk, he was a smaller kid. I mean, he was really skinny, and he just comes over and he opens the door. And we're like, are you open? He goes, yeah, come on in. And he's alone. And I mean, Ken's 6'3", I'm 6'2". We could have raped this kid if we wanted to. And that's probably not where I should go with this leap. I mean, we could have probably robbed him instead of that. I don't know why I got to go right to the rape. Look, this is why they won't let me in Canada. This is why they don't let Americans in here. I said, you want to come up here for an hour and take a breather vacation and throw a snowball around at a goddamn gazelle or a llama, whatever the fuck they got up here. But now they hear me talking about raping a clerk, and they're like, yeah, we can't have you in this fucking country. But my point is, he was diminutive. He was a small person, and he just let us in. And there was because, in America, you got 7 layers of bulletproof glass, and the guy won't even stand close to that just in case you've got an anti-aircraft gun to steal a fucking bag of jerky. I mean, in America, you're always in peril. But up here, this dude just like, Sonny, hi, how you doing? Come on in. We're all friends here. And, you walk in that, and this is weird. I did not know this. The Canadian national anthem at the hockey games and shit, they play that, "Oh Canada." It's actually It's a Small World song from Disney World because it's so happy and nice. You just walk in, it's playing everywhere you go. I went to buy some stuff. I grabbed chicken chips. We get back in the car. And then Ken and I turn it up to 10 in the car. We start talking about stuff. I hear about his life. I talk about my life. And, and I want to hear about his life because he hears about my life every goddamn week on this show. So I want to hear about him. And it turns out that since the last time I was here, because I stayed with Ken the last time I was in town, but he's moved twice. He wound up buying one house and he flipped it. He buys a second house and he called it a half and half, which is Canadian bullshit. I don't know what the fuck that means because down by me, half and half is like cream and nonsense. It's like milk or cream. But a half and half here is a townhouse, basically. It's just you're attached to another house next door. And he's got a lovely gay couple who lives next door. He's become friends with them. And on the other side, he's got a vacant lot. He's like, yeah, man, my house is nice. And, I just got to warn you, it's not the same house, but it's, whatever. And I said, oh, I'm on board. That's cool. And then he and I don't even, because I got talking to Ken and he's an interesting guy, so we're not tired. So he's like, are you hungry? I go, I'm not really hungry. I just want to hang out, like kind of talk. So we went to a couple of places that weren't open because Canada kind of rolls up in the middle of the night. But we finally got to the Toronto area. It was like 4 a.m, I think it was. And that might be late. Was it 2:30, 3? I don't fucking know. I wasn't really keeping track. But by the time we got here and we found a place, he found a Tim Hortons. He's like, let's go to Tim Hortons. I said, all right, cool. So we wound up in this Tim Hortons all night, 24 hour. We walk in. Now, look, you know me. You know I hate when you walk into a business that's like when a place closes at 10 and you walk in at 9:40 and the first thing they say is, hey, we close at 10. I just go, well, fuck you. I just leave because you don't want my money. Obviously, if you're telling me what time you're going to close, that you're just basically telling me, hey, I'm going to do a shitty job and I'm not going to take care of this. So I walk in to this Tim Hortons. There's all of the workers at this Tim Hortons are sitting in customer seats. 2 of them are by a fireplace. One of them is actually sleeping. She has her head down on a table like when you'd finish a test early or when you'd have nap time in kindergarten. She's got her fucking head down on a desk. And I see it and I shouldn't care. But this is the old man in me where I see it. I'm like, have some pride. I mean, just fucking at least do some busy work. You got time to lean. You got time to clean, as David Spade said in Reality Bites. Fucking take care of some business, man. I don't need to see you sleeping when I come in here to get a fucking thing to eat. Take it from me, a guy who's actually slept and on the job at a retail place. That doesn't end well for anybody. So I walk in, and this poor girl, not the sleeping girl. Sleeping girl stayed sleeping. She didn't even fucking look up. But the other girl stood up, and even Ken goes, oh, yeah, you guys are having a good time? Stretched out in front of the fireplace? Sorry that we got to bother you. Like, he was, like, totally sarcastic. But they didn't even get it. They just like, hi, can we help you? By the way, Tim Hortons, if you don't know what it is, I think I've described it in the past. Imagine if Dunkin' Donuts said A all the time. That's all it is. Tim Hortons is Dunkin' Donuts, but with a Canadian accent. That's what it is. I understand the coffee's really good, but I'm not a coffee person. Instead of Dunkin' Munchkins, they've got Timbits. They've got all this different stuff. You know what? I would tell you this. You know what Tim Hortons doesn't have in Canada at 4 o'clock in the morning? Fucking donuts. The fucking cabinet is devoid of pastry. There's nothing. There's not a goddamn thing. There's like one cinnamon apple tart with a frown on it. I mean, I didn't even think that pastry could frown. But when you looked at it, it was just so sad because it obviously had been in there since like 9 a.m. and nobody had chosen it and all of his friends were gone. So he was this sentient pastry that was totally sad. He was still in there at 4 o'clock in the morning. But all the other, no other donut, nothing. It's all gone. So we're looking and also they had soup. I should tell you this, Tim Hortons had like turkey sandwiches and soup and donuts, like this weird melange of food. So I said, "Oh my God, you have Italian wedding soup?" And the woman goes, "No." I said, "You have a sign. It says you have Italian wedding soup." She's like, "Not this late. We do not have soup this late." And I'm like, man, if you advertise soup, you got to have soup at all hours. Soup is, you know what? Soup is a fucking 24-hour food, just like goddamn donuts. Fill the case. Bring out the soup. The fuck is wrong with you people? I know you're all kicked out in front of a bearskin rug in a goddamn fireplace, but I want soup and donuts, motherfucker. Instead, I calmed down and I'm like, all right, so you don't have any soup? They're like, no. And I said, all right, boy, you got the sandwiches up there. I said, you got like a bagel sandwich with like a chicken thing. And she goes, we do not have that this late. And I'm like, all right, well, what do you have? And by the way, I should say, I haven't ordered yet, but Ken did. Ken's like, I want a sausage breakfast biscuit. She goes, okay. So then I start running through, you know me. I'm like, oh, do you have salmon? I mean, like so stupid in a fucking donut house. And then finally she goes, I said, what do you have? She goes, we have sausage breakfast biscuit, which is what fucking Ken ordered. So I'm like, all right, give me a fucking sausage breakfast biscuit. And, but no donuts. And I went and got a water out of the car. And as I went to walk outside, you know, Ken went ahead and grabbed a table for us. And there's a dude outside who's just, he's lost. I mean, this cat is fucking lost. And you know what this is? He's walking in circles. He's filthy. He's got a cigarette butt that he's working on. And he's just talking. And he's keeping up this steady stream of invective. It's like he's got Tourette's, but he's not yelling. He's just walking and talking and talking and walking and walking and talking. And I got to admit, I knew how he felt because I'm betting that guy came in at 3:30 in the morning and said, hey, I want some Italian wedding soup. They said, we don't have soup this late. And he said, all right, how about donuts? They said, I'm sorry, we don't have donuts. And he just lost it. That was it. His fucking brain pan fried. He lit a cigarette and got dirty. Just walked around. But this cat, he's just doing laps in the parking lot. And in my brain, I steeled myself and I'm like, oh, this fucking guy's going to want a handful of loonies and I don't have any Canadian money and I'm going to have to give him an American dollar. And then he's going to think I'm God and he's going to bite it because I've got real money. But instead, he didn't fucking give me a second glance. I mean, he's in his own goddamn world of just walking and talking and smoking and being filthy and just doing that. And I mean, I got my water and I walked in and I said to Ken, I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, this guy's got a problem. Oh, I should tell you this. On the way to the fucking donut house, we're driving through and a guy goes by us on a bike. And Ken is he's a cop at all fucking hours of the day. And he goes, that guy's up to no good. I go, what do you mean? It's like 3 a.m. He goes, yeah, you ever seen a guy on a bicycle at 3 o'clock in the morning who's good? Who's doing good things? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's a fucking really good way to put it. Because, I mean, it's not like the guy, he didn't have a fucking bag of newspapers on the handlebars. It's not like he's walking around bringing news to anybody in the neighborhood. This cat, and then he turned down a street, and Ken goes, yeah, no, I guarantee, he goes, I know exactly where he's going. There's like a meth house down that street. I'm like, this is fucking Canada. There can't be a meth house. And Ken's like, dude, you have no idea. He goes, these tweakers, they get high, they take their bikes apart, and then they put them back together. They go buy more meth. I'm like, Jesus Christ. It was awesome to get that perspective, but at the same time, it must be haunting to look around and see trouble everywhere. And not the kind of trouble where you're like, oh my God, we're all going to die, but just to know that this guy's bad news. Ken's telling me a story about one, you know, I mean, you know me, I'm really good at putting myself in other people's positions and feeling for them and feeling sad. And he told me a story about how they were called out to a house. Some 20-year-old kid called them and he's like, hey, I got a knife and I got a gun. And when you cops show up, I'm going to stab the first one and I'm going to fucking shoot the next one. I'm just going to keep piling up the fucking bodies. So make sure you bring a lot of body bags. And then the dispatch went, can I help you? It's like, why are you calling with that message? How dare you call the police station and start threatening us for no reason? Well, at that point, they've got to go to his house because it's considered terroristic threats. So they go to this guy's house and they're familiar with him. And he's a 20-year-old meth kid. He has no job. He lives with his mom. And they get to the house. And of course, he's got shitty ink and no t-shirt, I'm sure. And he's just sitting on the porch with a knife. And the cops show up and they just try to discuss things with him. They just want to have a conversation. That's all they want to do. And I know you're thinking to yourself, well, cops never want to have a conversation, particularly with a guy sitting on a porch with a knife. And I get that. But they had to go investigate. This guy's sitting there, and I guess they spent an hour trying to talk him down, where they're like, hey, look, just come with us. And what, did I fuck up? Tell me if I fucked up. All right, hold on.
This is The 40-Year-Old Boy, and coming up later, Deep in the Pocket, a history of scissoring with Leanna Dixon.
Hi. It turns out I didn't fuck up, but I was on the verge of fucking up. All right, let me tell you exactly where we're at. I was, I almost said the guy's name, the kid's name in that story, which I'm going to finish. And Ken was like, "Duh." And so I stopped down and I'm like, dude, did I fuck that up? Can I tell this story? And he's like, yeah, just don't say the kid's name. And I was like, well, I wasn't going to say the kid's name, but in my brain, of course, I was going to say the fucking kid's name, but I try not to say people's names because this is, how do they put that in Canada? Pending litigation, from what I understand. So I can't go into it. But anyway, the point is, hi, it's Wednesday. And I addressed this because Ken's not here. So if you don't hear him in the background, I wind up referring to him because how I handle the show. I would normally talk to Ken, but he's left. He's off doing police stuff. Perhaps he's over at that guy's house. Who knows? I have no idea. So when this happened, it was yesterday. It was Tuesday. And I stopped down to talk to him, and then I was going to jump back in. By that point, though, we had to leave because we had to go do something that I'll tell you about later on in the show here. I'll go ahead and discuss it. Now I have a whole new night of stuff to tell you about. Look at that, folks. We're rebooting the show. Look at us jumping back in and doing great things together. And by doing great things, I mean telling a story and you listening. And by together, I mean me doing it and you sitting there. Unless you want to, fuck that. We're all in this together. I say that all the time in every goddamn show. Let's pick up where we left off. When we last left you, I was telling you that they went to this kid's house. He's on a porch. He's just sitting there. And they try to talk him down. They spent like an hour talking to this kid. They're like, dude, you got to put the knife down. They didn't see a gun, but then he's yelling and the kid won't calm down. And look, I can't even understand. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to have a good conversation with anybody for an hour, barely. I don't want to go to a guy's house when he's got bad, shitty ink and no shirt on with a knife and he's threatening to kill me. I can't talk to that dude for an hour. But cops have to have the patience of Job. And they have to go ahead and handle these situations. So by the way, I don't know if you know who Job is. Go ahead and look him up. Actually, they have to have the patience of fuck, I can't remember his name. God damn it, Will Arnett from Arrested Development. I can't remember his name. Fucking dumb. Why did I even go down that path if I can't even pull the dude's name? Come on! All right, so they had to talk to this dude on the porch, and they're giving him a speech. They're like, look, man, come with us downtown. We'll talk nice. We'll have a conversation. And the kid's just getting angrier and angrier. And then Ken tells me the guy just gets up and he starts yelling. He's being more aggressive. And they're like, dude, you need to stop. You need to calm down. You need to stop. And the kid finally, he charges them with the knife. After an hour of conversation. And this kid hadn't done anything, okay, except call them and threaten them. So they have to go check him because he's a danger to himself and others at that point. But then when they get out there, they spend an hour trying to talk him down. He's got a knife on the porch. He just continues to get more aggressive. And they're trying to get him to stop, and he's just getting more and more angry. And finally, he stands up and he's getting aggressive, and he charges at them with the knife. And they have to shoot him. And unfortunately, he dies. And I'm, Ken's telling me the story, and I'm just like, God damn it, dude. I don't. When I got a tough day at work, it's because my earbuds don't work in the microphone. I can't even imagine having to ventilate a 20-year-old because he came at me with a knife after an hour of trying to talk him out of it. Fuck me, man. But luckily Ken wasn't there when it happened. It wasn't part of he wasn't on the porch, but he, in the department, they know all that goes on. So my point is when we're driving around, he would go, hey, if you go down this street, you go around the corner, that's a bad place. You go over here, this is bad. Like he knows his town, he knows his area, and he knows, like you would know where the good restaurants were. Well, Ken knows that. But Ken also knows the guys who are most likely to rob those restaurants and where they live. And I'm not joking when I told you the thing about pulling the bikes apart. He said because meth guys need something to do with their hands. They get all tweaked up and they go to this place. They get together. They polish their bikes. They take them apart. They put them back together because otherwise they'd be scratching fucking holes in their skin. And I can't... So like I said, I put myself in these situations. I put myself in this weird empathy where I relate to... Imagine being like 35 and you're hooked on meth and you've got no future. Because I get down in the dumps now the way I am, and I've got a show and you guys are great and I have good friends and I've carved out somewhat of a career for myself. And everybody looks at their own individual situation and goes, man, I should be better. I could be doing better than this. I could be doing other things, or I should be doing other things, or I could be making a better effort. And then you see a dude with pockmarks riding his bike at 3 o'clock in the morning and turning it down a dark street, and you realize he's going to cop drugs, and you're like, holy fuck, I guess things could be a lot fucking worse, really, when you think about it. And also to see the world through that prism, to go, well, that guy's going here, and I know about that dude, and that's a bad dude, and all that stuff. Jesus Christ. It was nuts. So we go to the donut house, and this dude is outside. Like I said, he's just got Tourette's, and he's sitting, not even sitting. This is the weird thing. He's crouched like a catcher. He's crouched down on the ground with a cigarette when I walk past him, and he's just fucking dirty and talking and holding his cigarette butt. And I didn't even think it was lit. It was like, you know how they find cigarette butts and they put them in their mouth? And by they, I don't know who I'm talking about. Horrible people, haunted people. They find cigarette butts and they just gum them. Bad choppers. And I walk past the dude and I go in and we just hang out at Tim Hortons. And I was just wired, man. I just wanted to visit. Like I said, I didn't really want to eat anything. So we just wound up talking. We fucking hung out at Tim Hortons for almost 2.5, 3 hours. And, I should have known that a cop was going to bring me to a donut shop. And that's where we'd wind up doing most of our hanging out first thing in Canada. But we watched night turn into morning. And we had a booth. And, when we walked in, like I said, all the fucking employees are passed out in front of a fireplace. But then things started to click. Employees started to come in. Donuts started to come out of the back. Real donuts. I'm sure donuts they baked. Not the donuts that when I said the display case was empty, I should have told you. I told her, I go, do you have any donuts? She goes, well, I can look in the back and see what we have. I'm like, don't go fucking rifling through the donut dumpster trying to drag out a fucking maple bar. I'm not interested. If it's not in the case, it's not good, obviously. But as we sat there, more and more people came in. And then he goes, oh yeah, he goes, the old guy's going to start coming in. And sure enough, this old man came in, and I got to tell you, I loved him. I loved him so much. He had, he had khakis on and a nice little jacket, and he had a taxi hat on and glasses, and he was just an old man. Came in, sat at a booth, and then another old man came in and sat at that booth, and then this old man got up and left. He left that booth and went and sat over at a tall table, and his buddy looked at him and goes, I thought you were going to sit with me, and he's like, I cannot. And then he sat down, he got just a small coffee. Oh my God, I looked at Ken and I go, dude, I love this guy. I love old man. Because I love the idea of somebody getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and getting a shower and getting completely dressed and then going to the donut shop just to sit in it and just watch people. Because I don't even leave my fucking apartment half the goddamn time. I keep telling myself, get motivated, get out of the house. This dude's up at 4 in the morning, showered, comes out to the donut shop. And sits down and has the intestinal fortitude to hate another guy that early in the morning, so he moves his table and goes sit somewhere else. And then another old dude comes in like with a big prospector beard, and they all know one another. It's the cutest thing in the world. These old dudes are like, hey, Charlie, hey, and they say hi. But the old man with the taxi hat, that was my guy. I laser beamed on him, and then he sits down and I go, dude, he's got a small coffee. It's so awesome. Then he pulls a pen out of his pocket. I'm like, what is the pen for? Oh my God, he's got a pen. What's going to happen? He reaches into his pocket. He pulls out a word search book. Do you know what that is? Like, not even a crossword puzzle. The one where you draw balloons around words that are hidden in a fucking letter maze. That's the shit I used to get when I was a little kid and I was sick. If I was in the hospital or I was homesick, my mom would come home with like a word search for me, and you just circle the words. It's the easiest puzzle in the goddamn world. There's nothing challenging about it. And this old man but he's keeping himself sharp by doing word searches in a donut shop at 4 o'clock in the morning. God, I loved him. I loved him and the other old dudes just hanging out. And more people are walking in, students and regular people. And then I'm talking to Ken, and we're discussing ills of the world. We're talking about a million different things, and I'm talking out loud. And, I'm me. And I lose myself a little bit sometimes when I'm talking. So I'm talking to Ken, and this old man, he turns around. Ken's got his back to this old man. The old man can see me. I'm facing, because we're in a booth. This guy's at a table. And he's on a table that's raised, so he can look over and see us. So I'm talking, and the old man looks over at me and kind of just gives me a deadpan look. He's looking right at me. So I kind of smile and nod, and I keep talking to Ken, and Ken's talking. We're having a conversation. Probably another 10 minutes goes by. The old man turns, and he looks at me again. And this time, furrowed brow, like a little more of an intense stare, where he looks at me and kind of like, you know what it looks like? It's like, what are you doing? That's what he looks like he's doing. Or he looks like he's trying to make heads or tails of me, like he might know me, and he's trying to figure out who I am. And in my head, I'm like, what if this guy's a listener to the show, and he hears the voice, and he can't quite place it, and he's finally trying to figure it out? Oh my God, that'd be great. So I'm looking at him, he's looking at me, because again, I want to be this guy so bad. fucking khakis and a button shirt and a jacket over it. And I mean, it's not cold here yet, but the guy's got a fucking, it wasn't even a windbreaker. How do you call it? It was probably, I would say it was a fall jacket. Not a winter jacket and not a windbreaker. It was that jacket when the air starts to turn crisp. This guy was everything about fall. I loved him. He was old. He was turned to the seasons. I was attributing a lot of things to this guy. I was ascribing a lot of responsibility to this fella. He represented all of these things for me. Turning of the seasons, the aging, when you turn into a different guy, and then also, so I loved him. So I continued talking to Ken. Ken's talking to me. And finally the third time the guy looks at me. And this time he stares me down. It's not even like a glance, and I wouldn't say it was like a confused look. This time he looks angry. And it dawns on me why he's looking at me. Because I'm talking, and we're having a conversation. This is his domain. This is his house. This is his dojo. It's his donut dojo. And I can't possibly, I don't want to impose on the guy. I mean, in my head, I'm like, well, wait, are we in his booth possibly? Like, maybe we're in his booth. I have no idea. But I've done something wrong, obviously, because this dude's looking at me. And then in my brain, I go, dude, you're talking, and you're talking loudly, which is probably enough to shake him because it's 4 or 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning now. But besides that, you're swearing like every time you talk. Like I'm saying, because I've thought about this a lot. I mean, I casually swear. I just do. I mean, I do on this show. Fuck becomes a placeholder for me when I'm talking. Fucking. I mean, it's that thing where it's kind of it's a bridge. It's a thing to get from one to the other. So when I'm talking, I told you it happens in the Uber sometimes unconsciously. I'll start talking to people and it's normal, but then when we start having a relaxing conversation, it'll fly out once or twice. And I'll even go, language, I apologize for that. And the people in the back are like, man, don't worry about it. So then I become me and I start talking like a regular guy. Well, this guy hasn't given me the nod. This guy hasn't given me the, hey, don't worry about it. He's giving me 3 steely stares, and it dawns on me, I'm like, man, you're in his house. You're in his house. What are you doing? So I'm talking to Ken. This guy gives me the mean look. And I look up at him finally, and I go, sir? And he looks back at his word search, and I go, sir? And he turns his head to face me. I go, am I offending you with my language? He goes, yes. I go, I understand that I'm swearing a lot. I do apologize for that. Sometimes it's casual, and I don't think about it, but I certainly don't want to offend you. He says, well, I appreciate you reaching out. I said, absolutely. I'll definitely watch it going forward. But and that was my favorite part, is he didn't sugarcoat it. When I said, hey, am I offending you with my language? He just said, yes. And he nodded. Like there was it was great. I mean, again, because he could have been like, oh, no, don't worry about it, fella, or whatever. No, man. He fucking steely stared me, jutted his jaw out, and just said, yes. And I got it. I knew it. And like I said, this is his place. I'm disrupting his peace. I'm a visitor. I'm an interloper in the Tim Hortons Donuts, man. I'm fucking, when they always say, who fucking pissed in your Cheerios this morning? Well, I put my cock in his Timbits. That's not good. He doesn't want that. I came in and I threw my fuck in his Timbits. I fucked up his small coffee. This guy's got a fucking routine, and I'm stepping in it. So I apologize. I said, sir, I'll watch my language. I apologize going forward. Sometimes I lose myself and I unconsciously swear. And he said, well, thank you. Thank you for asking. And he just goes right back to his word search. And Ken looks at me and I go, he looked at me like 3 times. And he goes, okay. Because Ken was shocked that because first of all, when I said, sir, Ken's like, are you going to talk to this guy? You can see it in Ken's face where he's like, are you really going to reach out now? I know you like the guy, but are you going to talk to that fucking dude now? But he just, I had to. And again, good for him for just saying, yeah, you're absolutely offending me with your language. But we hung out there until fucking 7:30 in the morning. When we came to his house, and he's got this awesome, nice townhouse. I crashed at 8:30, and then I'm upside down. I get up at like 3 in the afternoon. I have to get a shower, and Ken's shower. Dude, what is with Canada and soft water? I've talked about this before when I go on the road. When you get into a soft water shower, it just feels like you're showering with melted butter. There's no traction. The soap and the water just becomes slick. You're completely slippery. You almost feel like you're covered in amniotic fluid. They just gave birth to you in a shower. You're just standing there all slick, and all you want to do is jerk off. At least I do. When I get to soft water and soap and I'm rubbing it all over myself and it's slick, and then you start washing certain parts of you, and it's like, and they respond, and you're like, man, this is interesting. And I'm not that guy. So I warn you. I don't warn you. I just tell you. I make this pledge to you, as I've talked many times. I'm never jerking off in your house. Please please don't think it's ever going to happen. If I'm your guest, a soft water or no soft water, I don't take care of business like that. I wait till I get home and I do my thing and then whatever I got to do. And it's very important that I share my jerk off schedule with all of you, because who knows, man, you want to reach out. A guy like Ken puts me up in his house, and if I run off a batch in his house and he finds out about it, well, he's never going to have me back, and I don't blame him, for fuck's sake. But when you're in that shower, boy, when you get that soft water and you're rubbing and you're sliding your hands all over yourself and you're like, yeah, this is pretty neat. I didn't know that Astroglide came out of a shower head, and that's bad, and then I got to take showers all week. So then that's popping into my brain. But regardless, so I get up on Monday, which is now 2 days ago, and we went out to go to dinner. Our buddy John came to meet us, Johnny Floor. He met us here at our friend Ken's house. And also the same thing, we leave and he says, let's go have dinner. He said, do you want Egyptian food or Indonesian food? And you know me, man, I want crazy, different. I don't need to have a fucking hamburger. I want whatever cool ass stuff you've got in your town. Let's fucking find it. He goes, well, there's this restaurant. There's a place called Ethel's that Ken hangs out at all the time. And I mentioned Ethel's last time I was here. We went to Ethel's the last night I was in town. We played rod hockey. We just got burgers and hung out and had a great time. And he said when he used to hang out at Ethel's, he became friends with a restaurateur who owns a restaurant in town. And it's an Indonesian place. He's like, it's like kind of like almost like Vietnamese, Indonesian fusion, whatever. And I said, dude, I'm in. I want that for sure. So he called over. We didn't need reservations. We showed up on Monday. Climbed into this joint, and it's just set off the street. It's not a big palace. It just almost looks like a little hole in the wall. But you get in, and it's got authentic decor. What the hell was the name of the joint? Bilal's Waranung. Jesus Christ! Hold on, I gotta find out what it was, because I don't want to not tell you, because you can go ahead and look at the website, because it was holy God. Bima's Warung. That's what it was called. BHIMA 'S Warung. And it was a fusion of Asian and French cuisine. And so John and Ken and I bust into there, and we sit down, and the waiter comes over, and Ken's like, hey man, do you guys still have that combination platter? The guy's like, nope. He goes, well then we just want a bunch of appetizers. Like, what do you got that's good? And the dude's like, I'll put a tray together for you. And this is why this place has been here for like 20 years. Like I said, Ken knows the owner via Ethel's. And Ethel's is just this like coffee shop, diner, restaurant, but this place is a very specialized cuisine. So to know that the guy from Ethel, or the guy from Bima's, his name Bima, he hung out at Ethel's, I'm like, see, that just shows, look at that, we're all reaching across the aisle to one another here. Indonesian food guy can go and have a fucking slice of pie, just like people who like slices of pie can go over to Bima's and have some starches or some mains or whatever the fuck they got. So we tell the guy, just bring us some appetizers, and he just goes and he brings us a tray. He comes back, and we're talking, and it's just, look, I'm not gonna go complete food porn on you, but if I should post fucking photos, because I did take photos of everything. But he brings us these dumplings with chicken and scallops in mango butter. Oh my god, dude, that was unbelievable. He brings that. He brings this. I guess it was a sausage. It was like pork, crab, and shrimp, and it was chopped up and fried. It was minced pretty much and wrapped in like a rice wrapper and then fried. So he brought that, and then he brought these oysters that had chicken and glass noodles and were finished with a red curry, and they were baked in the oyster shell. So he brings all that out first, man, and a papaya salad. That he just starts bringing food, dude, and that's, me. I'm a fat dude, but also I love the idea of just ordering food or clapping like and then they go ahead and they show up with all your food. And this guy knew exactly. He's like, I'll get you stuff. You'll be on board. So he brought us it was the oyster special. That was that oysters baked in the shell. And then the other stuff is on the menu. And then he's like, what do you guys want? And so we were looking at the menu to figure out what to order. And all three of us picked an entree. I picked a Pok chicken, which is because I've been to Pok in Portland and New York. And it's this chicken that's fried and put in a fish sauce caramel. And I told these guys, I go, dude, this is going to be the most savory chicken you've ever had if it's anything close. And then there was also a venison dish. Now, I've never had venison. So I saw venison, and Johnny was just like, yeah, man, I would totally try that. And it was venison short loin, and it was on a black peanut Penang curry. And it came with organic beets and eggplant and like a coconut puree and a plum and lemon cucumber salad. I mean, it was just, think of all those flavors, dude. Plums, lemons, cucumbers, eggplants, beets, black peanut curry, venison. It was, goddamn. So we ordered that. We ordered the chicken, which came with pickled peaches and then like a buttermilk Parmesan mash or something like that. And that was the chicken. And then, of course, we got the venison short loin. And then we ordered, and Ken just wanted noodles. So he's like, hey, man, what do we got with noodles? The guy goes, we have a duck dish with noodles. So it's a medium rare duck breast served over like vermicelli noodles, but tossed in a sauce. And the duck is prepared in a very French way because it's pink on the inside. And I mean, dude, so we're eating the appetizer. And here's my favorite part. I don't care how much food we order. Because I can only, you know me, if I can eat a lot, if I can eat slow, but I don't want to eat a lot. I just want to, but I want to taste everything. That's the thing, is I want to bite 30 things. If they could just do that, that'd be fantastic. But I know when I'm in Canada or whenever I'm anywhere with our good friend John Floor, whatever we order is going to get consumed. It's going to get knocked the fuck down because that's who John is. John is just, I've never seen, he's really close to the most unbelievable eaters I've ever been around. He can put away anything. Like whatever's left, he'll just fucking hoover it up. He lets nothing go to waste, and I love it. I'm on board with it. It's so great. So we get the appetizers and the oyster's perfect. And the guy also, he structured the appetizer so there were the 3 of the sausages wrapped in the rice wrappers. There were 3 of the mango butter dumplings, 3 of the oysters. I mean, it was just fantastic. So we knock those down. We eat all the papaya salad. They bring the dishes. Dude, I've never had venison. It was so tender you could cut it with a fork. The peanut curry on top of it. I mean, it was fantastic. The beets, the eggplants, the plums and the salad were so good. Little sour. And the lemon played off of it perfectly with the cucumber. God damn, dudes. I love food. And I love good food. You know, you want to drag me to a Fridays or something, I'll have a salad. But if you take me to a place like this is like let's put it this way. We ate there Monday. I would eat there every day. I want to eat there now. Like, I want to go back. It's Wednesday now. I would love to go there again. Like the guys, I mean, we can't because I should also say this. Everybody here has been very nice. And this trip is kind of on them, which I don't get. It's super cool and really nice. I mean, dudes, imagine if you could come to Toronto and you had friends here and they were like, dude, don't even grab your wallet. And, you know, I told you when you come to LA, it's the same thing. This is my town, or I go there, it's your town, or, well, that's what Ken and John are like, Dad, dude, fuck that. It's our town. And I'm grateful and they are gracious and I'm humbled by it. I can't believe it. But you know me, every time we have a meal, I'm like, look, dude, run a tab. I'll pay you later. I'll Venmo you when I get home or whatever. And they're just like, dude, stop. You're here. You're our friend. This is what the whole point was. It's a bring Mike to Toronto. It's a way of us to donate to the show. Because Ken and John are like, we don't donate to the show, so this is how we do it. You know, John comes and sees me in basically every city. And Ken, when I'm in Toronto, he just takes care of it. And I was here in 2012. The guy took me to a fucking Jays game. I mean, I've been friends with these guys a long time. And it's I'm so lucky. That's all. You know, I'm so grateful to have good friends all over the world and to have them reach out and want to, you know, they all came to Cincinnati. Even, you know, Tanya and Mike are also great friends here. And that's what I'm saying is everybody, they want to make sure that I'm having a good time and that I'm comfortable and they're happy to see me. And I can't tell you how important that is to me as I get older and how things progress. You know, like, I'm 51, and you say to yourself, well, am I ever going to make it? Am I ever going to do this? Well, I've made it. Fuck it. I've made it. I know I say these things all the time, and you're like, yeah, Mike, we get it. But I cannot stress to you how impressed I am and how humbled I am and how grateful I am to have people out there who are willing to, they enjoy what I do, and they want to show it by taking care of me and being my friends. We're friends. And just to say that I have friends everywhere is fantastic, and I'm very happy. So this dinner was a ridiculous amount of money, and I got a glimpse of the bill, and I went, Jesus Christ! But they took care of it. They were super nice. I think Ken paid, and then, you know, I don't know. Ken, I don't know how they're handling it. I don't want to be attributing credit where credit is always due or not due. I don't want to cause a fight. What if they did? What if they fought? Because I'm like, yeah, I can't believe that these guys paid everything, and they get into a fight over who paid. It doesn't matter who fucking paid. The point is, my friends in Toronto have brought me out here, and they're taking care of me, and that makes me very happy. So dinner was amazing, and then dinner was so good. I mean, like, think about what we had. We had 4 different appetizers and 3 different entrees, and we ate it all, man. There was no leftovers. We killed it all. Johnny was he was hoovering up whatever was left at the end, and then The guy's like, you want to see a dessert menu? And I was like, man, I'm full, but I want to see it because I just want to see the kind of dessert you guys serve. And John's like, you're full? We could probably get a dessert. I'm like, John, I can't. And John's like, what about some Japanese ice cream? And Ken's like, all right, whatever you want to do. If you see a place, we went across the street and there was it was a sushi place. I thought they saw a Japanese ice cream place, but we walked in looking for mochi and they only had like green tea ice cream and we bailed on that. And then, that we just had that dinner and we came home and Ken and John fell asleep in chairs because they're working men who actually have jobs. And then I was sitting on the couch listening to them snore. And I'm like, all right, should I wake them up? Should I not? But eventually John woke up and he bailed and Ken went to bed and I stayed up super late because I'm that guy. And then Tuesday came and I came and I talked to you guys. And then here's the thing. Like I said, I stopped down in the middle because we were getting closer to things we were doing on Tuesday night. So I didn't think I was going to tell you about them. But now here we are, folks. We've got more. And I was also going to quit. I wasn't going to do this. But then when I did the thing last night, I was talking to, because we went out, there were 7 of us last night. It was me and Ken and John, Tanya and her husband, Mike. And then Stephen Brogy showed up. Good to see Stephen. And our friend Kendra was there. Kendra came out and joined us. And I'll get to what we did in a second. But we wound up talking over food. Well, fuck, should I tell you this? Why would I'll just tell you the night. And then I'll tell you this later. No, fuck, I already started it. Because this is to tell you why I'm telling you this story now. We're talking, they're like, how long is the show? I said, well, I stopped down. It was like an hour and 10 minutes or so, or an hour and 20 minutes. But I still have to do the plugs and I still have to tell the story of what I did yesterday. And Tanya just nods and she smiles. And I'm like, what? And she goes, she says at the table, she goes, does anybody else here like wait for the show to come in and look to see how long it is and then just smile because you realize it's 2.5 hours? And Kendra's like, oh my God, yes. She goes, I will pull over like in my car, listen to it on the weekend when I'm driving. And everybody kind of discussed amongst themselves that they like it when the show's long. And I go, I never planned for the show to be that long. I start talking and we see where we're going to go. I always think it's going to be an hour. I'm like, all right, I'll get in and out of here in an hour because nobody wants to hear more than an hour. And they're like, no, we want the long show. That's exactly what we want. And then they made me laugh because they said, well, the best part of the show is when you go, I don't want to, I'm almost done here. Well, wait, let me tell you this. And then you talk for another 50 minutes. John said that he said he looked down at the phone. He's like, well, I'll tell you this story. And then he looks down. There's another hour left in the show. So again, I'm grateful that people want to hear my nonsense over and over. And look at this. Just in telling you that, I've made the show even longer. How great is that for these people? They're so happy. They've contributed to making the show longer by telling me they want the show longer. So by my telling you that they want the show longer, it's made the show longer. Look at that. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm so happy to do that for everybody. So I wasn't going to tell you what happened on Tuesday night. I was just going to bang the fuck out with Monday at Tim Hortons and then the dinner. But we went out last night, so what the fuck? I'll go into this. So Tuesday... like I said, I had to stop down because I had talked to Ken and I was going to blow the whole fucking thing by giving a name and ruining everything and getting a lawsuit. I don't want to get roped into Canadian litigation. Ligature. Ligature. I don't want to get roped into Canadian ligature. I don't want to get ligatured into Canadian litigation. Look at the fun I'm having with language. Language, ligature, litigation. A lot of L's. Oh, what a dumb fuck. See, this is why the show gets to be so stupid long, because I start repeating shit like Claw in a fucking Marvel comic book. Oop, oop. Just hears his own voice. So last night, I stopped down, and Ken's like, all right, man, we're waiting on Johnny. He's going to be here at like 5:30, or he's going to be here at 5, and then we're going to a fucking... the plan last night, because there's a schedule on the fridge of the stuff that we're doing. I should take a schedule and post it. Last night's schedule included... an escape room. Yeah, that's right. We've been to the Rage Room before, and I think we're still going later in the week here. But an escape room, which is, if you don't know what those are, that's ridiculous because they're in every town. In LA, they're literally on every street now. But let's also look at it this way. Essentially, any room you're in is an escape room, really, if you want to play it that way. I mean, you could look around right now at your office or wherever the fuck you are and just be like, I need to solve 3 clues so I can get the fuck out of here forever. Like, any room that you're in can possibly be an escape room. But this place we went to last night, Adventure Rooms, they have like 5 different rooms that you can try to escape from. You try to find puzzles. You try to get out the door. And Kendra, I believe, works there. So she was meeting us there. That was the thing. We wanted her to participate in the escaping. But then she's like, I've done this room. Like, I can't, because there's certain rooms. I mean, she's done them all. But she's like, no. And if you haven't been in an escape room, it's you show up. You get tossed into a room and you got to escape. Literally, the title is indicative of exactly what you have to do. You have to escape a room. Or a scenario of many rooms, whatever the fuck. So we get there, and there's Kendra, and then Julia, who's the lovely woman who's giving us our instructions and telling us what we need to do. And it's me, like I mentioned, it's me, Steven, John and Ken, Tanya and Mike. So the 6 of us are going into the escape room. And we were in the one called the map room, I believe it was called. I forget. There was the mayor's office. There was a bunch of different ones. But the room that we're in, it only has a 26% escape rate. So, and I don't even know what the fuck we're in for, okay? I don't know if clues fall out of the ceiling. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen, right? So they said and she gives us the whole breakdown. She goes, you're going to get in there, you're going to get clues, and there's a phone. So eventually you might get clues at some point. And you're just solving puzzles. You're just trying to move and you're trying to get out of the room. And I'm like, all right, well, let's do this. She goes, by the way, you're all going to start handcuffed to a table. And now I'm like, all right, well, business is about to pick up. Let's go. Let's handcuff Tanya and see what happens. there's like 7 other dudes here, and Mike is going to be fighting us off. I'm joking. It's fun. We're having fun. All right, so now see how awful is that? You handcuff all of us. She goes, we go in the room, we handcuff ourselves to the table. She goes, all right, when I leave, you have an hour, and your time will start now. And then there's a clock that you see ticking down. So we're handcuffed to the table, and we all start reaching around looking for keys and feeling and looking, and there's a thing that we can reach, but you can't walk away. If you're handcuffed to the table, there's a phone, but you can't reach it. So if they call in with a clue, you're handcuffed to the table. There's nothing you can do about it. So we're looking around. We're reaching under the table. We're trying to figure out, is there a puzzle we've got to solve? And then there's a button on the wall. It's a red button. And Mike, Tanya's husband, is just like, hey, let's do this. And he pushes the red button. Key drops from the ceiling. Ding, ding, ding. And it unlocks all the handcuffs. Because I should tell you this. There's a bucket of keys on the table. So we look, first of all, we start digging the keys out, but they're all the standard keys, but they don't have teeth. Some of them don't. And then some of them look like the ones that would go in your handcuff key, but we needed a hollow tip. And then Michael sees the red button, he presses it, and the fucking key comes down from the ceiling, and it unlocks all of us. So we start unlocking, we start rampaging. Then we've got to move over. There's a vault. Oh, it was called the vault. So we had to get, there's a footstool, you open it up, and it's got like I don't want to give too much away, because that's the thing, is I could describe this in detail, but if you wind up going to this escape room, I'm going to give you clues. So we find a clue. We start struggling with it. We're looking at the time clock. I will tell you this: once you get in the escape room, this was my first one ever, so I will be better at the second and the third and all the ones going forward. And believe me, I will be going to a lot of escape rooms. God damn, did I love this! It was so fun. But in the beginning, you get a little chicken with your head cut off. Like a lot of people are looking for certain things. And I will tell you this: this is one hint I will give you about an escape room. If you've never done one, it's very easy to trick yourself by looking for in-depth clues when the surface clues are all you need. I can't give stuff away, but we found like a code sheet, and then there were symbols, and then we found symbols elsewhere, and then there were DVDs we had to watch. There was a vault. We had to unlock the vault. We had to figure out how to do that. I can't give you all of it, but I can tell you at one point there was a thing where we were finding numbers. Now, I kept adding the numbers up, and everybody else kept going, well, look, these numbers, and we're being watched the entire time. Kendra and Julia are outside watching us on a camera. Now, I thought that would be silly. I'm like, there's no way. That would be boring for them to watch us. But I guess they must be completely entertained, because it's like watching a different show every time. You see people in there doing the wrong thing, and you start laughing at them, I'm sure, and you're wondering what they're doing. And then the phone would ring, and they would give us a clue. And so then we wound up getting 3 clues, but we wound up, and we start looking, we find a thing, and I don't want to give it away, because if you wind up doing this room, you certainly don't want me telling you what to do. But we had triumphs, we had tragedies, we had way too many times we were trying to figure something out and it didn't work. And then John started to really throw it in overdrive, because we escaped this room and only to find another room that we had to escape from. So then we found there was a cabinet, and there was stuff and measuring. And I can't stress enough that it was incredibly fun. But if you're in an escape room, you need to slow down. And all of you, if you have a team, if you got 4 people, break into 2 and 2. If you've got 6 people, break into 3 and 3. Don't all individually start going, because this is what we did. We saw something, and that's what I said. We started to add. I found a box. Let's put it this way: I found a box with a lock on it, and it was a combination lock, but it was with letters, not words. So we found all these, letters, not numbers. So we found all these different words, and I started putting in all these words, trying to make it work, trying to make it work. Then I'm just guessing. And let me tell you something, folks. in the moment, because you're just hustling. You're trying to get out. You're trying to get clues. You're trying to get locks done. You're trying to be a fucking hero. I'm not going to lie to you. But if you think you're going to sit down with an infinite number of combinations on a combination lock and guess the word you need to open without finding any clues, that's a bad strategy to have in the escape room when you've only got an hour. So afterwards, I'm talking to Kendra and Julia. Kendra's like, she goes, I was watching you sit there with that box, and you're just putting in different combinations. Like, I thought I had it. She goes, you're not even close. She goes, you got to find, that's the whole point. You need to find the code, the word. You got to find all these different things. And you don't think that way. You just think, all right, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this. But in reality, you got to take a breath. If you work together and you work efficiently, work smartly, not quickly, or whatever the fuck, you'll be okay. But goddamn, was it fun. So we get into the second room, and then our time is running down, and we're trying to figure stuff out. And John, I know enough about him now after knowing him for fucking 7 years. I knew he was going to hate it if we didn't solve it. Everybody else is looking at it like it's fun. Tanya's laughing. We're having fun. She's got a can of soda. Steven is helping us. We're all looking for clues. And Ken is a cop, so he's got his jaw jutted, but at the same time, we're having fun. John is not having fun. John's like, we got to get the fuck out of here, man. So we get into the other room. He kicks it into overdrive. He's doing this. We got a grease pencil. We're trying to figure shit out. And the time's running down. And I can see him. He's seething. He's just shaking his head. He can't believe that we didn't fucking solve it and the time ends. And I walked up to him and I go, how pissed are you right now? And he goes, I am furious. I am fucking furious. And I go, I know you are. I go, it's hilarious. He goes, we could have done that, man. We could have done that. If we would have slowed down, we could have done. I'm like, yeah, well, next time we will. Don't worry about it. And it turned out that what we did was we got 50% of the way through the room. We thought, because we have no idea. You have no idea what's going on. But, and then we have to ask them questions. So we're asking Julia and Kendra, we're like, hey, look, how off were we? And that's when Kendra was making fun of me with the goddamn box with the lock on it. And we asked, we said, well, very specific questions. And Julia's like, I can't answer that. She had to be as vague as she could. She goes, because you may come back and you may want to do things. And also it's different in every room. But and they were very nice. They're like, well, you guys did a good job. And we're like, we really didn't. We got halfway through. They're like, no, you did okay. You did, once you started to work together and you really started to see and make things work and you started to get clues and, they were complimentary. So I'll tell you what, if you go to the Adventure Rooms Facebook page, I haven't been yet, so I don't know if our photo's up, because at the end they take a photo of your whole group. And I'll try to share it to the Joker's page once it's up if somebody else doesn't do it. But we took two pictures. We took a happy picture and we took a sad picture. The sad picture was because we didn't solve the thing. And Julia took the sad picture. She goes, oh my God, that's it. That's clearly it. And then we took a happy picture after. She showed us both. We go, no, we got to go with the sad picture because we didn't solve it. She goes, yeah, that sad picture. She goes, that's great. I can't wait to put that up. So I don't know if it's up yet at the Adventure Room Facebook page. Adventure Rooms in, Windsor, Waterloo, Kitchener, wherever the fuck I am. But Adventure Rooms Canada. And our picture should be up, and we just all look sad because we didn't get through, but goddamn was it fun. And both, I will admit, John and I didn't really talk to anybody else, but we just wanted to get right back in. Like, I would have gone into that room again and tried it again. Of course, it cost money, but I would have tried it because it was fantastic. It was so fun. And then we left. And we went out to, we were trying to figure out where to go eat, and there's like 7 of us. So we were going to go to Ethel's Lounge because it was Taco Tuesday. And I think you know this, folks. I flew all the way from Los Angeles to Toronto to have tacos. The world famous Toronto tacos on Taco Tuesday. $2 tacos on Taco Tuesday in Toronto. That's a lot. I like alliterative food. You know me. So we get to Ethel's, all 7 of us, and there's a huge line out the door because it's a college town. So we walk up the street and we went to Barney's or Blarney's. I don't know, some fucking Blarney Oats. I don't know, some bar. And we're out on the patio. And we got some poutine because it's Canada. We got some pierogies. We got a burger that we split. There was all sorts of food. Kendra got her own pizza. Steven got, I don't know what he got. It looked like we got calamari. We had a bunch of stuff. But it didn't matter about the food. It just mattered about the camaraderie. We had calamari. We had camaraderie. That's what we had. We had some calamari with some camaraderie. We had camaraderie. And we sat there and had a good time and talked. And then it got fucking cold. We're on the patio. And by cold, I mean 60 degrees. It was like 65. And I'm like, ugh. And they're like, what is wrong with you, man? I'm like, I don't know. I'm a child. I can't do this anymore. But we talked and we had fun. And we ate food, and we were outside. And I should tell you this, all of this was done in the face of the most unbelievably disgusting smell I've ever smelled in a city. This town, I don't know if it's a farm town. They kept telling me, they were trying to explain it. It just smelled like, it literally smelled like someone shit us out. Like it was the heaviest manure smell I've ever smelled. And I've gone through Wisconsin, like through farmland. And I lived in Chicago and we had stuff like that. I mean, dude, it smelled like somebody dropped a shit bomb on the stockyards. I mean, it just like, John said, he said, I don't know if there's this is trouble when John goes, I don't know if there's an abattoir nearby. And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm sure there is, or they need to build one. If you're thinking there's an abattoir, just to explain that smell, that's how heavy the smell was. It wasn't just, hey man, that smells weird. It was in my lungs. Like you could taste it. It was just heavy manure. And I guess it's that time of year where they manure the fields and to grow whatever. I'm like, what do they grow around here? And I go, just, you know what? Just stop growing it. We'll send it to you from America. I'll tell Trump not to have a fucking tariff on it. And we'll send it to you guys just so I can enjoy this fucking meal in peace. And gradually when you're outside, you get used to it. But boy, that first 45 minutes, it was heavy. Like I'm breathing it in. It's in my mouth. It's in my lungs. It's in my nasal passages. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is brutal. I mean, it was so bad. And they kept laughing at me. They're like, ah, ha, 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 ha. And I'm like, all right, hey, you guys, believe me, you're the losers here. You're the ones who are used to a shit smell. I'm the one who's like going, man, this is brutal. And look, you know me, folks. I'm a super taster. I'm a super smeller. I'm that fella. But it was really aggressive. It was astonishing. But it was crazy fun. Escape room was fun. Food was fun. We had a great time. We went inside. We played some trivia. We're shouting at the screen. That was great. And then we left. And then last night, which was Tuesday night, I came here. John brought over some sort of Donair shawarma kebabs. He threw those in the fridge. I got one of those waiting for me as soon as I'm done talking to you guys. And it was beautiful. It was just so fun. So tonight is Wednesday, and we're going to throw axes tonight. And then we're going to the movies. We're going to go see Predator. I'm just fucking jacked up. I'm so happy to be here, man. It's so fun. I love it very much. I'm glad. And if you're hearing this, I'm still here, because the show comes out Thursday. I'm still here for the next couple days. I'm here Thursday. If you want to do stuff with us on Thursday, hook up, write Ken on Facebook. And of course the show is tomorrow on Friday, but I'll get to that in the plugs. But, the bottom line is it's funny. I keep joking about wanting to move to Canada. I'm joking about it. I'm talking about it. I'm having fun talking about it. And, and then I come here and it's not Canada so much as it is the people. And I romanticized about it earlier here, but goddamn, is everybody so cool. And everybody's nice and everybody's just genuinely happy to see me and happy to have me here and making me feel welcome and making me feel like I'm at home. And as far as I'm concerned, at least this week and every time I come back to Toronto, I'm home. So thank you, Canada. Thank you for giving me a home away from home that eventually may just become my home. Who the fuck knows? We'll see what happens. If it's I snuck through the border so cleanly, perhaps I should just fucking stay. But I love feeling like I'm home. You guys can get me at MikeandMikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can get me at Facebook.com/the40-year-old boy. You can friend me, I should say. You can't get me there. You can friend me at Facebook.com/the40-year-old boy. You can follow me at Twitter.com. So that's the thing. You can get me, you can friend me, you can follow me. You can get me at MikeandMikeSchmidtComedy.com. You can friend me at Facebook.com/the40-year-old boy. And you can follow me at Twitter.com/the40-year-old boy. And I'm also available on Instagram and Snapchat, and also Snapchat and Instagram at Mike40YOB. That's Mike40YOB. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram and be a Snapchat buddy. Do all those things that you got to do. Send me snaps of you in various states of activity. If you're out playing softball like our friend Christy is sometimes, or if you're swimming, whatever the hell you're doing, send me something on Snapchat or on Instagram. Follow me, send me a photo. Be a pal, be a friend. Like all my Canadian friends, as I've mentioned several times now in this fucking broadcast. So please, Instagram and Snapchat, Mike40YOB, and then Twitter, Facebook, all those other places you can find me and be my pal. Ryan Dirks does all of the Facebook, all the web stuff for this show. You can find Ryan at Facebook.com/Ryan Dirks. Go ahead and be his friend and thank him for all of his activities. Our good friend Giovanni Giorgio Peluso, you want to find him. He has, I've mentioned his podcast. He's got the Geo Get It On podcast. He does all of the Love Line podcasts. He scrubs those up and he restores all of the content, and people, fans of that show, love him for it. And if you want to get back, look, if you want to go listen to old Love Lines because you loved it, or if you want to start from the beginning and listen to old Love Lines because it was a fantastic show with Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew Pinsky. Adam's commissioned Geo to scrub them up. I just went and it got in my brain. I apologize. Geo has scrubbed them up and he's put them out for your consumption, so go ahead and check it out. And also, go to the Love Between the Two Hosts YouTube channel. That's our friend Geo's channel, The Love Between the Two Hosts. Subscribe at YouTube and check out all the stuff that he's offering. And like I said, all the Loveline content, everything Geo does, because he's the best, man. He reaches out to me. He tries to help me. He and young Jaden are putting me on Twitch eventually, and I can't thank them enough for it. So please, go ahead and check out our friend Geo at the Love Between the Two Hosts YouTube channel, his Geo podcast, Get It On podcast, and all the Loveline stuff that he scrubs and he puts up there. And our friend David Hernandez is the coolest. He does all the artwork for this show. You got to love him. He does all the music for this show. He's the best. You can find him at Facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez. Go there, be his friend. Check out all the cool stuff he puts up on Facebook. He makes Mex memes. And, he pretends like he doesn't like anything, even though I know that the guy does like some stuff sometimes. But go and find him at Facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez. But I'll tell you what, if you like the artwork for this show, you're going to love the artwork he does for you personally. So you're going to want to go to artbydmh.com and check out all of the cool-ass stuff that he has on sale and stuff to offer there. He's got Gycons, he's got Valscapes, all these pieces of art that do exist. And I want to thank Michelle St. Louis. Mex did a painting of her boyfriend for Christmas. And it was, he drew him in Montreal, Montreal Canadian jersey, coming over the boards. Probably to wreak some havoc on there on the ice, like a Shane Corson would or a Chris Nyland. But that's amazing. That's in the Joker's page. You can check that out. I think she may have actually tagged David in, so you might be able to see it on his Facebook page as well. Regardless, go to artbydmh.com. You can see all the fantastic work he's done. Like I said, he's got Valscapes, he's got Gycons, so there are existing pieces to buy. But if you want him to do a custom job like he did for our friend Michelle St. Louis, and he's done for our friend Catherine Sweeby, and he's done for our friend Justin Mantell, and all other listeners to the goddamn show that he's gone ahead and created custom artwork for, you can find him and you can get him, you can write him a note, and he's happy to do it. Just like I said, he does the music for the show. I don't think he'll do any music for you, but he'll certainly do artwork. He does paintings. You can commission him to do something special. He can do a fun, silly painting of you and your kids, or he can do an unbelievably beautiful oil painting. He can do watercolor. The man works in all sorts of mediums. He's a genius. And again, I'm fascinated by people who can do things that I can't do. That's why I'm fascinated by Ken with his bloodhound nose for cop stuff. I'm fascinated for John, who owns a trucking company, and I can't believe he fucking comes and visits me and then still goes to work and does his job. I'm fascinated by Tanya and Mike because Mike works for fucking BlackBerry and he's too smart for me, and they've got kids they've raised, and I'm fascinated by our friend Steven who came out last night. He and his wife are living here in Canada, working hard, making a living for themselves and doing great things. Steven gave me some games yesterday, which was fucking cool as hell for the Twitch channel when I start playing those. Fascinated by Kendra, who's raising her kids here. It might have been one kid. I don't want to be that guy who ruins that. But she's got a little one, and she's working very hard, doing amazing things. So everybody's the coolest, and Mex is on top of the list of that. He's super cool. He's on top of all those people, all those Canadian people I just mentioned. Fuck all them, man. God damn it! I'm telling you, Mex is the guy. So he's doing paintings, he's doing stuff. Go ahead and commission him to do it for you. You can go and find him at artbydmh.com. That's artbydmh.com.
She wants to borrow my phone. Don't let her. Hope she leaves the scroll bar alone. high, and then he'll cry in photo 31.
There is a fly in here, and it's driving me crazy. I'm going straight up Walter White, Bryan Cranston, Breaking Bad, and just staring at this fucking thing, and I want to put on a hazmat suit and chase it around. Jesus Christ. I got a mosquito bite on my leg, too. What the hell, Canada? I just talked about moving here. I love you guys. I want to be part of you. And then you sick the insects on me. Not a fan. There's a fly in the house. And it's that thing where you want to chase it around and smack it, but it's a giant house. It's a small fly. I look like a fucking dope. Crazy like the Schlitz malt liquor bull just knocking shit over. And then a mosquito bite? What's wrong with you people? Look, I know I'm delicious, but you didn't have to tell your bugs I was. I don't care for this. This is insecticide that's happening here. And that's right, a Nirvana album is happening here. Bleach is happening here. Whatever. All right, so I'll try to avoid this fly, but it keeps landing on the computer screen and it freaks me the fuck out. All right, hi. It doesn't freak me out. I mean, I know what flies are. I've lived with them. I've dealt with them before, but I don't like it. That's all. I don't want to say I'm freaked out. I don't want to betray myself in some weird way like I'm scared of a fly. And you can say to yourself, he wouldn't even hurt a fly. Bullshit. I would absolutely hurt a fly. I'm going to fuck a fly up as soon as this is over. I'm going to get a swatter or a towel or whatever the fuck, and I'm going to chase him. What is one of my greatest achievements as a child? I'm not going to lie to you. I was a towel snapping genius. I think I told you I used to carry it on my shoulder. Did I talk about this when we used to do chores in my house? This is after Lenny bailed and I was the king of the house. I had a towel on my shoulder. And I'd be doing dishes or whatever, but I carried the towel everywhere. So we'd be vacuuming, and my brothers wouldn't be doing chores, and I would snap them with the towel to get them to fucking attention. Yeah, I was a terrible fucking taskmaster. That's how I did it. But I'm a badass with a dish towel. One time I snapped Jill. Oh, that wasn't nice. Like I thought it would be a thing where it'd be like kind of like a sexy, playful, and I left a welt, and which. I mean, if you mean to do that and you guys are on board with it, it's fine. But I kind of snuck up on her and did it, and she looked at me like just this sour face, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so." I felt awful then, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm sorry, I was just playing around." But it's not good. So the point is, one time I had the towel on my shoulder, and I'm in the house and I'm cleaning in the kitchen, I'm doing stuff, we're taking our chores done, and there's a fly on the fridge. And you're goddamn right, folks. I picked it off with a fucking dish towel. I killed a fly, snapped it. And it just when I hit it, I fucking yelled because it was like I lined it up and I went and it went into an arc because I didn't smash it, like it didn't explode against the fridge, but I hit it and it went like a fly ball. It just went in the air, and then you heard it like when it landed on the ground, and it was out. I mean, it was just fucking. I don't know if I killed it or stunned it, but I fucking picked it right off the goddamn fridge to a point where it just froze, and then of course I stomped on it. But when I hit it and it went flying, I was just like, yeah. And because when you're a child and that kind of stuff is fun. By a child, I mean I was probably 15. But come on, you kill a fly with a dish towel? Nobody wants a part of me. That's Mr. Miyagi bullshit, man. That's fucking JCPenney, $10.98 or $2.98 or whatever the fuck that belt cost. So anyway, there's a fly in the house. Anyway, we're in Canada, right? Did I mention that, folks? And there's things to tell you about. There's all sorts of plugs to have for you. Please remember that there's a YouTube channel you can check out. Our friend Giovanni Peluso, I guess I'll break his name up like that. He put together our YouTube channel. It's available now at the 40-Year-Old Boy. YouTube channel is available on YouTube now. Just put in Mike Schmidt or the 40-Year-Old Boy. You're going to find it. Put in the 40-Year-Old Boy, really, because if you put in Mike Schmidt, you're going to find a bunch of baseball highlights, which are not bad. You want to see Mike Schmidt hit his 500th home run and do a crazy dance as Harry Callis goes, Michael Jack Schmidt. You can do that because it's fantastic. But if you're looking for me and my show, you want to look up the 40-Year-Old Boy channel, and that's available right now on YouTube. So go ahead and look at that. Also, remember that Cameo exists. That's an app you can put on your phone. And you can dial me up and go, hey, who's this guy? And you want me to go ahead and call your aunt and tell you that you love her? Why is it always an aunt? I always go with aunts and cousins. I can call your mom. I can call your brother. I can call whomever you want. If you want me to call anybody who's in your family or whatever, just go, hey, guess what? This guy wants to tell you a good thing. Because I guess, look, Tommy Lee from Motley Crue's on there. He's $250 to make him get a call, and he's probably going to do 30 seconds. I'm $20. You pay me $20, I'll talk to your family for 5 minutes. Look at that. You parse that out. Why, that's only that's only $240 an hour if I'm doing the math correctly in my head on the fly. So it's $250 to get like 30 seconds from Tommy Lee, but you can get an hour out of me for that. You pay me $250, I'll talk to your whole family for an hour. Pass the phone around, I'll talk to your grandpa. I'll tell you what, here's a better thing. If your grandpa's like got Alzheimer's or something, and I know it's a sad thing to bring up on the show, and I probably shouldn't have done it. However, if that's the case, and he just rambles and he talks to you in a corner and you got things to do, just call me and hand me the phone. Pay me $250 and I'll listen to your grandpa ramble about the war. Why not? If he wants to tell me about his Hills Brothers coffee can that's full of nails out in the garage and why we can't find the right one for the right hole, I'll listen. I'll totally humor your grandpa for $250. I'm a grandpa humorer. Fuck Cameo. Fuck calling up to tell you happy graduation. I'm a grandpa humorer for $250 an hour. Even for $20 for 5 minutes. Or for a minute. Whatever the fuck happens. The point is, get the Cameo app. Download it to your phone, find me, pay me to do things. That's what I want to do. Absolutely. Hey, you want to drive for Uber or Lyft? Of course you do. If you want to drive for Lyft, use my code Mike720057. That's all caps, M-I-K-E, and then 720057. And you can use that as a first-time passenger as well and get me some greenery. If you want to be an Uber passenger or an Uber driver, use my code DJZW1YTTUE, and that's all lowercase. DJZW1YTTUE for Uber, Mike720057 for Lyft. Go ahead and drive for those companies. Go ahead and get rides from those companies. Either way, I'm going to get a taste. As well, if it's your first ride, I'll get a taste. But if you're a driver, you'll have to hit some arbitrary, I don't know what they got, a number in your city. And then I get some money because I'm your Uber pimp, and you go out there, you make your money, and you make some cash. And we're all in this together, folks. It's all going to side hustles. Jobs are going away. The whole earth is just going to be driving one another to non-existent gigs. That's what our whole fucking thing is. Everybody in the world will be an Uber driver or a Lyft driver, and we'll be driving each other to Uber and Lyft headquarters to lodge complaints about how we don't make enough money. It's going to be perfect. So why not get in now on the ground floor of that side hustle? Don't you want to do that? Of course you do. Folks, we got sponsors of this show. Sponsors, you say? Well, of course. The Paranoid Strain podcast sponsors this show, and I'm happy that they do. It's our friend Fearful Jesuit from the compound up north. I don't want to get too specific. But he does all sorts of shows. Look, they're available right now in the iTunes store. If you go there and just subscribe, leave a note in the iTunes store saying, hey, I found out about this show via the 40-Year-Old Boy, and tell him you love it. So again, he thinks that we're a big deal and he wants to continue to sponsor this show. You can write him a personal note. You can listen to the show. He'll give the address on there, and you'll find out all sorts of interesting things. Now, look, there are past shows about 9/11. There are past shows about sovereign citizens. There's past shows about all sorts of different things, but there's a new show. That's right. There's a new goddamn episode, folks. Now, he was going to do the second part of his 9/11 pairing trilogy. I don't know if it's a trilogy, whatever he's got in mind. I don't talk to Jesuit. I don't know what's on the docket. All I know is he was definitely doing a 9/11 show, and then he went, you know what, we got to strike when the iron is hot, because right now there is a conspiracy theory out there that is flooding the land, folks. There's a show about QAnon right now that Fearful Jesuit has done, and it is in-depth, and it is... Look, I'm not going to lie to you. It's fucking depressing, because you just get to the nuts and bolts of how many crazy fucking people in this country are willing to believe garbage. And it's horrible and it's frustrating. He even has snippets on this show, clips of people discussing Q as if it's just, it's fact. And all Q is doing is putting out, all right, he discusses the origins of Q. And dude, by the way, QAnon, and he says this in the show, it has swept the nation in record time. Like a lot of conspiracy theories that kind of take root, but they were always whispered to and fro. And then you thought about it maybe 10 years later. People are still saying jet fuel can't melt steel beams. People are still saying the JFK conspiracy was a whole fucking web of people and not just Oswald. Everybody's got their bullshit. Okay. Anti-vaxxers, nonsense, everybody. But QAnon, dude, that's only been live for almost a year, not even a year yet. He gives you the actual date. The first Q post on 4chan was October 28th of 2017. And everybody fucking ran with it. They went crazy. And it's funny because Paranoid Strain is not normally a political show. All that they are an equal opportunity destroyer. Anybody who on either side of the aisle, Democrats, Republicans, fucking libertarians, John Birch Society, whatever the fuck you are, if you're crazy, he's coming after you. And that's the fucking thing I appreciate. But it's not normally a political show, but he's forced to get a little political in this particular show. And I don't want that to turn you off. But he has to, because QAnon at its core, it is based in people who are in favor of one particular viewpoint. And also, the president of the United States kind of ascribes to that viewpoint. He's a conspiracy theorist himself. So he gives these QAnon people hope. He gives them life by saying cryptic bullshit, saying the calm before the storm, all this nonsense, whatever. He gets into that really deep. The show opens with a bunch of Q quotes, which set the tone. It's a really kind of this icy cold computer voice, which is fucking neat. He gets into 4chan. He gets into fucking 8chan. I mean, he has this little Ann Hero song in there that sounds a little like Nickelback. I don't want to get into it, but anyway, the point is, folks, he tells you about what is right now, for my money, the most destructive conspiracy theory in the world. I mean, you can believe your harmless JFK bullshit, everybody, but none of that stuff's destroying the world actively at this moment. QAnon is lending itself to crazy people finding a reason to believe things that are not true, and it's hurting the world. It's not even the country, not even the Republicans, Democrats. None of that matters. It's hurting the world. And, like I said, there's always been, and here's the best part, is he exposes Q for dropping this, it's a case of people hearing simple garbage, but ascribing it unbelievably deep meaning. Almost like if you were to read fortune cookies and think that they were real, like you were to go, oh my God, this guy totally nailed it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just garbage, but people are so desperate to believe nonsense that they put their faith in these bite-sized platitudes of conspiracy, and it's ruining everything. I can't stress enough. And he gets to it. He peels the fucking layers. He finds a tomato within the banana, and he totally fucking finds it. But I will say this, and I'm going to send this out to fucking Fearful Jesuit, who I know listens to this show every goddamn week. You can talk about your 8chan, you can talk about your 4chan, you can talk about these crazy fucking Q assholes. You can play the clips of the woman talking about, here's my favorite part. She's like, who is Q? Well, we already know. We're not going to get into it. We're not going to waste our time. You don't know who fucking Q is. Nobody knows who the fuck Q is. We actually found out it was uncovered. Well, I don't want to get too much into it. Go ahead and listen to the show. But Fearful Jesuit, let me tell you something, buddy. You want to go ahead and get these Q guys? That's fine. You want to take on any conspiracy theory, anti-vaxxers? You want to take those people out? That's terrific. But I will not. I repeat, I will not have you disparage Nostradamus. How dare you? How dare you try to debunk the quatrains? I am furious at you right now. And he's like, oh, some people added some bullshit about steel birds falling from the sky. Fuck you, man. I don't care if somebody Jimmy rigged it. Look, nobody can mess with the quatrains, but the original quatrains, the way they're originally written, Nostradamus knew fucking everything, man. So you can go, you want to debunk and you want to sponsor, and I'm happy to do it. But do not come after my fucking Nostradamus. That's my cue, damn it. Leave him alone. I won't have it. But you should listen. Please go ahead and download the newest Fearful Jesuit production of The Paranoid Strain. And again, just the production value alone is worth it. And then he does the deep dive on these crazy fucking idiots, and you deserve you owe it to yourself to listen, because unfortunately the world is going this way, and you want to be well versed in the shorthand of crazy. So please go ahead and get that show. And also tell Fearful Jesuit you heard about it from me. Tell him that you're on board. You loved it. You're on, and he'll understand that sponsoring the show is a good thing. So thank you. Reach out to him. We'd appreciate it. Let's talk about Patreon, folks. Patreon exists. You can support the show via the Patreon page. I should probably mention this earlier in the show. I don't know why I don't. But I got to tell you guys have really stepped up, and I do appreciate that. Right now, by the way, the Beige album is available on Patreon. You guys do know that, right? David Hernandez's Beige album is available on Patreon. Also, it's available for just a $7 donation to the show. If you don't want to be a Patreon person, I totally get that. But if you go ahead and do a $7 donation through the website, you can get the Beige album from David Hernandez. But if you also become a Patreon subscriber, monthly subscriber, you get access to Mex's Beige album. It's fucking fantastic. It's his Beatles tribute. I think there's 13 songs, and all of them are fantastic. And again, they're all reworked just a little bit. They're not, some of them are straight, but then there's always a little bit of David in there. That's my favorite part of all of the work David does. He's true to the artist, and yet he also brings himself to it, and that's what you want to hear, because that is a talented dude. He's got a lot to offer. So please become a patron of Patreon, and you'll get that Beige album, or give $7 through the donation button, like our friend Jim did this week, and he went ahead and got the album. So thank you. But all the Patreon people, we have new Patreon people to discuss. Dudes, listen to this. Our friend Tim Radke has jumped in from the Midwest, thank you, as his son goes out there and kicks ass playing college football, and I'd like to see that report every goddamn week on Facebook. Our friend Ann Zill from Ohio, who I had dinner with Ann Zill when I did my show in Cleveland. I went out with her, and we went to fucking Lola, which is Michael Simon's restaurant, and it was, oh my God, it was so good. Man, that was great. What a great time I had dinner with Ann, and for her to, because again, think about that. That show's in 2011, 2012, and now Ann is coming around and being a patron. So she's been around forever, and I thank you so much for that, Ann Zills. Thank you for stepping up and supporting the show. So Ann Zill, Tim Radke stepped up on Patreon, and our friend Kendra Giles has stepped up. Now, I just saw a Kendra here in Toronto, but Kendra's name on Facebook is not Kendra Giles. I don't know if this is the same Kendra. If it's a different Kendra, fantastic. Kendra Giles, you've helped me out on Patreon. Thank you so much. And Kendra, who went ahead and we went out last night and we had food, and then we went ahead and played in the escape room. Thank you as well. If you're separate Kendras, thank you both. If you're one and the same Kendra, thank you individually, and I appreciate you stepping up not only in the escape room, but also stepping up and becoming a patron of Patreon. You're the coolest, and you guys make this show go. You are the shoveling coal into the fucking engine, this Titanic that steams toward an iceberg that'll eventually hit some year coming up, and we'll fucking all go tits up and go down. But there will always be room on my raft for you, Jacks. You're all my Jacks. I'm your Rose. I'm your Rose, goddammit. You know what? Do me a favor. Draw me like one of your French girls. Could you do that for me, please? Yeah, Max, could you draw me like one of your French girls? So please become a patron at Patreon. I appreciate everybody who has. Kendra Giles, Ann Zill, Tim Radke, thank you for stepping up this week. And anybody else who wants to step up to Patreon, you just go to patreon.com and look for Mike Schmidt or the 40-year-old boy. I think it's Mike 40YOB on there as well, Mike 40YOB. Become a patron of this show, and I will love you forever. Thank you. That's nice of you to do that. The website, MikeSchmidtComedy.com. If you go there, you go to the Joe Business page. We've got, like I mentioned, the donation button if you want to get the Beige album for $7. Or if you just want to go ahead and buy some, we got the live stuff. We got other stuff there available on the page. But then we've got, here's the thing we've got there that's important. The Amazon link is available at the MikeSchmidtComedy.com Joe Business page. Click through the Amazon link. We get money, they get money, you get stuff. It's a perfect unholy alliance. It's a perfect triangle of love. It's great. We're all just stacked on one another there. It's a 69 with a fucking 7 chaser. Not a 7? I don't know how that works. Regardless, we're all having sex together at Amazon. If you click on that link, we get money, they get money, you get stuff. It works perfectly. And look, you're going to Amazon anyway, right? This doesn't cost you anything extra. All it costs you is a visit to MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You go to the Joe Business page, you click through the Amazon link, and then boom, you're in Amazon. You're shopping and I get credit. And you're super nice to think so. It's another great way to support the show. If you don't do Patreon, or even if you do Patreon, because again, it's not an extra cost. It just allows you to support the show while buying things that you were already going to buy anyway. And again, I cannot stress this enough. We get money, they get money, you get stuff. It is absolutely a perfect arrangement. Look at that. It's the secret to the Trinity. The Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost? No, me, you, and Amazon. There you go. That's how it works out. You're out now. I offended half of you, I'm sure. But it's the new Holy Trinity. Me, you, and Amazon. We get money, they get money, you get stuff. So perfect. Thank you. Go ahead and sign up for that. And now I want to warn you. We're going to close the show by warning you motherfuckers. I don't know how this works. I mean, I do, but I don't. But at the same time, let's all hope that it doesn't work this way. However, the point is, folks, I have received an email. I received a very important email the other day. And it said, literally the headline of the subject matter of the email, all it says is, your password is, and it has my password. All right. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, what password is it? But it's a password that I use, or I have used in the past. I recognized it immediately. And I'm like, how the fuck does this person have my password? So then I open up this email, and I'm just going to read it to you. This is what it says. I am aware blank is your password. Let's get straight to the purpose. You do not know me, and you're probably wondering why you're getting this email. Not one person has compensated me to check you. Well, I installed a malware on the XXX streaming adult porn website, and you know what? You visited this site to experience fun. And then in parentheses, you know what I mean. I read it. You know what? I read that in the words of the Tom Tom Club. You visited the site to experience fun. What do you consider fun? Fun, natural fun. You know what I mean. While you were viewing videos, your browser started out operating as an RDP, having a keylogger, which provided me access to your screen and also your webcam. Right after that, my software program collected all of your contacts from your Messenger, Facebook, as well as your email and phone book, and then I made a double video. The first part shows the video you were viewing, parenthetically, you have good taste, laughing my ass off, and the second part shows the view of your webcam, and it's you. So basically what this person is saying is they have a videotape, a recording from my very own webcam of me jerking off to internet porn. And I don't know what that means. So good for them. They have that because they have this XXX streaming site. You know what I mean. They saw me experiencing fun. And they said I have good taste in porn, which is very good news. Now, I don't know what they mean here, so let's read on. There are two solutions. Shall we understand each one of these choices in aspects? All right, weird Russian language, of course. First solution is to just ignore this email. Now, I'm not doing that because I'm telling you guys about it. In this case, I'm going to send out your videotape to each one of your personal contacts and then think about regarding the embarrassment you feel. And likewise, if you are in a relationship, just how is it going to affect? Now, this is twofold. First of all, they're going to send all of you guys. So if you have me if you have my email in your contact book, or check this, if I had your email in my contacts, watch out for a video of me. It's going to be coming, apparently, according to this Russian guy who has a video of me, and it's a split screen of me in the video that I was enjoying. Now, look, if you've been listening to the show for 12 years, you've probably got a pretty good idea of what I was jerking off to. Let's not lie. But secondly, I love the fact that he filmed me watching the video, and that's somehow going to embarrass me. Now, look, if I'm jerking off with my laptop, I don't stand up in front of my laptop and jerk off. So it's not you're not going to get a view of anything that would throw you off. I mean, you might see my face. And I got to be honest with you, you make different faces when you jerk off than you do when you're fucking somebody. Like if you're going down on somebody, you're getting you're getting blown, or you're fucking someone. Of course, you're in the throes of passion. And you're into it, and you're with the other person, and they're fucking pulling your hair, and they're scratching your neck, and you're just, you got their legs pinned between your legs, and you're fucking going at it. And then you're gonna say stuff, and you're gonna make a face, and you're gonna be like, yeah, whatever the fuck. You finish off with authority, with a purpose, with authority from downtown, from way downtown, bang. That's how I handle my fucking. But I got to be honest with you, I don't do the same thing when I jerk off. And I think if you do, you're a fucking maniac. Like it wouldn't bother me if you filmed my face when I jerked off, because it would probably be the same face that you would see if I was reading the news or checking my mail. I mean, nobody finishes jerking off by going, oh yeah, god damn it, and then throws themselves a fucking beard. It doesn't happen. And also, if I'm jerking off, I'm at the desk looking at my laptop. I'm pointing away from me, so it's not like I'm going to shoot myself in the eye. Believe me, I've done that before. I'm very careful to aim away from my face. So you're just getting me from the chest up. I mean, you're going to see, my left hand going to work, which is fine as I'm watching whatever's happening. That's right. I go lefty. I told you about that. Side saddle lefty half the time. Particularly when I'm doing the webcam. Look, all right, I'll just tell you, because I'm going to tell you this now, because before the video, I don't want you to be surprised by anything in the video. If I was jerking off like in bed, I go right-handed. If I'm at the desk, I go lefty. If I'm on a couch somewhere, either way, using my laptop, I'm usually going to go lefty. Who cares? Nobody cares. All right, so the point is, but you're going to find out eventually, because this dude's going to send you a video. Unless, I know what you're thinking, because here's what you're thinking, Mike, holy fuck, how do I avoid getting this video? Well, I'm about to read on. Also, by the way, likewise, if you are in a relationship, how's it going to affect? Do they think people in relationships don't jerk off? And also, if you're in a relationship with somebody, do they think that person doesn't know that you jerk off? I mean, am I going to be really that embarrassed if I'm in a long-term relationship and wife or girlfriend just goes, hey, I saw you were jerking off. Yeah, it happens occasionally. Just like I'm sure you bust out your toys when I'm not around. All right. The choice is to give me $5,000. Good fucking luck. Whether the choice is to give me $5,000, we will call it a donation. As a result, I will instantaneously delete your video footage, which I'm sure would happen, of course. If I paid $5,000, I'm sure he'd go, well, this guy seems to be on the up and up. Let's do him a solid and get rid of this jerk-off material. Like, they're not going to come back to me in 5 minutes and go, we need another $5,000. $5,000 too. Like, because look at how shame-based our blackmail industry is. Because it's not even a video of me doing anything crazy. It's me jerking off to internet porn. Everybody in the fucking world, as far as I know, jerks off to internet porn. So I'm going to pay $5,000 so you don't tell people that I do something everybody does? That's like saying, hey, we got video of you smoking weed. We're going to send it to everybody you've ever met. Well, all right. Well, that's happened occasionally, and they know me. If anybody knows me, they know either A, I'm jerking off to internet porn. I mean, I guess nobody wants to see it, I suppose. But the shame that they think is based behind it, that I would give $5,000. Christ, you know what? I might, depending on on the angle, whatever, I might want to promote it. I might want to say, hey, you know what? I'll give you $5,000 to show it to everybody. Why not? So we'll instantaneously delete your video footage. You can keep on going everyday life like this never happened, and you will never hear back again from me. You'll make the payment via Bitcoin. If you don't know this, search for how to buy Bitcoin in Google. Well, I'd love to search how to buy Bitcoin in Google, but as you've already established, my left hand is full of cock. So it's not like I can type it up and go ahead and find anything. As we know, I'm jerking off to internet porn all the time. As you would know, sir, as you've taken over my webcam, you would know, and I have no time to Google how to buy Bitcoin in Google because all I'm doing is fucking jerking off right now and trying to figure out, sweating out $5,000. I'm actually, you know what? I got hard thinking of you watching me through my webcam jerk off. That just the thought of being watched by you, by some stranger, I got hard and I had to run off a batch right fucking now. Forget getting $5,000. You can film me again beating off to you telling me I got a video of me beating off. Here's his Bitcoin address. I won't read it to you. Case sensitive, copy and paste it. Should you are looking to going to the police anyway, this email cannot be traced back to me. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call the cops. Hey, I'm in a cop's house. I should just tell him, hey, Ken, what would you recommend I do if some guy filmed me jerking off? Because, look, I'm in a cop's house. He could have cameras. He might have fucking video of me jerking off. He doesn't. We've already established I don't jerk off, even though it's melted butter water. I don't do it. Should you are looking at going to the police. By the way, this is also the snowman. I think all the clues were there, Mr. Police. This is the guy who filmed me. He's no longer killing people. He's just filming guys jerk off. Should you are looking at going to the police anyway, this email cannot be traced back to me. I have covered my moves. I am also not looking to charge a fee so much. I would like to be compensated. You now have 1 day in order to make the payment. So we're on the clock, folks. We are I shouldn't even be finishing this show. I should be out scoring up $5,000 in Bitcoin instead of jerking off and talking to you guys. I have a special pixel in this email, and right now I know that you have read this mail. See, this is what you're paying for. You're paying for the sneakiness because you think that some guy took over your computer and he has a pixel in the email, so he knows. That's the thing. You're paying because it's creepy. You're not paying because a guy's got a video. You're just thinking, oh my God, this fucking guy, because he's trying to make it sound real. If I do not get the Bitcoins, I will no doubt send your video recording to all of your contacts, including friends and family, coworkers, and so on. However, if I receive the payment, I'll destroy the video immediately. If you want to have evidence, reply with "yeah!" exclamation point. I gotta reply with 1/3 of a Beatles song. All right. If you want to have evidence, yeah, 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 then I will send your video recording to it says 14 contacts. Now look, I'm not going to brag. I have over 2,000 friends on Facebook. I've got at least 2,000 contacts in my email. I don't know what this guy stole. I don't know what 14 people. And by the way, which one of you lucky 14 people are going to get my video? Oh, it's a roulette. Now it's just Mike Schmidt cock roulette out there. Brace yourselves. If you see an email from me, be careful. Or an email from Russian Jones. Reply with "yeah, I will send your video recording to your 14 contacts. It's a non-negotiable offer. Please do not waste my time and yours by replying to this email message." Well, I'm certainly not going to waste your time. I've already wasted my time by reading this fucking thing, but I'm going to throw this out there just in case you've stolen this. So you know who I am. You're watching me through the webcam right now as I record this show. I'm pointing my finger directly into the lens, and I'm telling you right now, go ahead. Send my video to everybody. Send it out to everyone. If they don't want to see me with a fistful of cock and running off a batch, and half the shame I understand is what you think I'm jerking off to stuff that's bad.
Fuck you, Schmitty. You don't come to a throne if you're not gonna suck a dick.